Starting. There we go. Welcome back. Hello, everyone. We are back after that hour-long episode of episode 34, an Apex Standard. We return back to the Unfortunate Sons, session 34.5, because truly we did not get far enough to consider that a full session. Back to an Apex Standard part 1 once more. Last time we left off, Domnander gained amnesia in the city of Zebral's Hive, Kabira. In which poor Dom forgot everything they knew, everything about themselves. Really, those jelly beans just hit way differently than any other party member. Meanwhile, on the side, Ned decided as a silent protest to having to wear now pants at the insistence of his party leader, to not only shit his pants, but then to wiggle it down his leg and splash it onto the floor. As we did confirm, no, that has not been done in every city, as Ned has been kind enough to run to the city walls and lift his toga up just slightly as he leaned over the walls to take a shit in their moats. You know, a little factor for the players, or for the watchers back at home. And then lastly, of course, we learned that Kez, even though his dick is proportional to his new size, is very upset and considers his dick very small in comparison, because he is no longer a 25-foot Adonis of a man, and is now instead about half of that, and is very upset. After a blatant explanation now, which the entire hive now knows this, the party kind of crashed out then because Domnander's amnesia kind of kicked in and the Ambrosia Jolly Bean kind of took hold. We ended session. So we returned back on the morning of the 25th of the Forgotten, which is the month of October, in the year 65,008. Actually, exactly about 1 month from where Saturday just was, before they jumped and left on their own mission. We return back once again to the party sitting around, all of them at the table in the inn, in which they had been talking to Vel, learning about the mission that they were going to be going on to. Having been explained a little bit about the mission and then things going to hell, we return back to you all still sitting there, food in hand, much of the tavern kind of slightly moving their tables away after hearing both Ned and Kez's very loud discussion. And Vel looking on at you lot with a slight look of concern, dismay, and hatred, and you can definitely tell there's an argument going on in their head. On the other end, Melvin, who is somewhere in the distance, can hear the screaming of this poor woman and Zebral about the fact that she wants these people out of her tavern. But, as the party doesn't know that and looks on at the horror of the situation, we return back as you four sit there, as after Kez gets done explaining that his dick had shrunk due to the curse.
Gotcha. Is the guide still available to exit this shit show?
That's right, there was a guide. I forgot about that.
Huh. I would prefer to have that conversation.
I remember.
Me attempting to give him 100 gold pieces is what caused the whole...
I remember. Yeah, that's right. As you lot had gotten up to go see the, what looked to be actually, let me pull up this thing, because I do have the note here of their thing, but I don't remember this off the top.
Yeah, because I remember him having, like, red hair.
Dark skin, red hair.
Yeah, here.
Old dwarf guy.
Alright, give me a moment just so I can find my note. No, I know who it is. I have his thing here. I've just got to find the racial description because for some reason I decided not to write that part down on my sheet. So, un momento while I pull that up. Thank you. Still was so bothered by that from last session. I'm still, like, reeling. Alright, yes. So his red-brownish skin, so the figure you see over at the bar, sitting there as you look over after Vel points to the individual, looks to have dark hair, a deepish red skin. Most of his hair looks to be shaved down, and he looks to be wearing a couple of daggers that seem to have a blackened steel-like metal on them, as well as purple amethysts at the end of the jewels that seem to be shaped in a way almost like a vial that has some sort of red liquid in it. At first glance, the assumption looks to be blood as a quick glance over. His leather armor looks to be very refined, leather that none of you have really ever seen before. It's blackened in material and little silver highlights along it with bits of platinum runes that seem to be engraved into it. A little emblem with a golden brain and a bunch of ruby veins kind of seem to dot it as he kind of looks over towards you. A little bit of his beard kind of seems to have almost a bit of grayish coal-like color to it as he kind of looks at you. A few teeth missing and the slight smell of sweat as he looks over his glass filled with some sort of thick red liquid. As Ida and Dom walk over, offering 100 gold. Wait, I forgot, what was the 100 gold for? I apologize.
To get him out of my head.
Oh, yes, as he was detecting your thoughts. That's what it was. Ah, I remember. Sorry, I'm still...
deleted Dom from existence.
Yes, that was exactly it, as he was reading your mind. As you handed him 100 gold, and as he was smiling and going through everything. As he looks over at the two of you, though, taking the 100 gold, he looks back over at Ida and goes, "So, I'm to be your guide."
Just kind of like give him like a once-over nod and say, "Oh, you look mostly the part. You part of the hive or just a friend?"
Well, I'm gonna imagine I'm probably more part of the hive now after hearing the comments from your friends there, but beyond that, no, I'm not. I serve a unique order. I've been permitted some time on the surface to assist you lot as an exchange for my good deeds down below.
How deep?
He looks at you and goes, "Where are you from, friend?"
Snowbeard Lands.
I've never even heard of it.
He kind of like nods. Interesting. Well, looking forward to venturing with you. Be happy to hear more about where you come from, honestly. I have a passing interest in things deep.
Kind of chuckles. That takes a deep drink of his red ale and kind of sets it back down as he smiles and lets out a light belch and goes, "Name's Skartsmander of House of Venkas."
Excellent. Miter Frosthorn. Hopefully you don't know my name.
Not in the slightest.
Great. I like gesture to Dom.
He goes, "Domnander, Regan Utham's chosen son, and man, you have a lot of unique thought processes about your adoptive father. Also, who's this Utvel fellow?"
He is my new brother.
Not many pleasant thoughts on the individual, I see. There are a lot of times it looked like
He is a great man.
your mind read of many. I saw many a times of you taking his head. Your surface thoughts are quite dark.
I believe this is what is known as slander.
Aye. Good to know that I can expect you to take my head if I don't do as I'm told. And let me guess, Small Dick McGee over there is Kesnanok of the Bum or something of the sort clan. And
Threes, Ned.
Kez has pulled out a couple of cards at the table, Ned.
Not this time.
Right.
Just like hand the fishing pole to him.
Yep, go fish. I understand.
Just like look back at my two companions, just fucking rub the bridge of my nose.
He just kind of looks at you. Skartsander looks over at you, Ida, and then looks back at your two party members look back at you and goes, "You know, Lord Zebra is supposedly paying me quite a fortune for this. I might have to ask for double. He told me I was taking competent individuals who had dealt with gods."
Honestly, I'd ask for triple.
we get involved with a lot of things far, far above our pay grade. Ironically, not because we look for it.
He kind of just looks at you and just almost just surprised at this point. Really looking, almost like slight shock. Good.
It was only about a year ago I cut my arm off and immediately had it reattached.
Yeah, it was a fantastic feat of medical engineering on my part, I think.
Do you happen to have any ridiculously strong spirits from your home?
Quite a few, but none that I would give you. I'd probably kill you. And if
I
it
slam
doesn't,
down like 100 golden.
and if it doesn't, wouldn't be able to walk on the surface anymore.
I retract my gold.
He nods as he kind of looks at you and smiles and goes, "It's not a fate most would choose. While we're quite well taken care of, those who are chosen amongst the rank don't get to return unless we are given the right from earning it. And earning it is, I think, the equivalent amongst your lot. What are those things you guys call, it's a silly name, apex monsters? That is, regular where I come from. Creatures take entire legions to take down, but they're more numerous down below.
Makes sense. Even the smallest parts of the Underdark, well, they're not kind by any means. So imagine deep down, that far down, and it gets any better.
He nods and deeply looking into his glass, like his eyes kind of distance for a moment as he looks on, and then looks back up at you and goes, "It's down below is a different level of experience. But with that, I'm here as your guide while I'm on leave to take you where you need to be. I'm not here to protect you. I'm not going to save your lives. I'm here to specifically just walk you through the most direct route. Should you choose to not want to take the route I have chosen, we will go around. I will take you alternate places, but I will not defend you. If you are knocked down by creatures, you will die on your own hands. That is the order I was given."
Yeah, I just kind of like nods. Fair enough.
And looks at the rest of you and goes, "And I should mention, if any of you are stupid enough to make deals with beings on this land, expect an untimely demise the moment you walk back into the hive." As he says this in Giant.
But aren't we kind of making a deal with you now?
Well, we're in the hive.
Also, we're not making a deal. We're just asking for services. They're already paid for.
These are the rules. And he looks at you lot and goes, "Rule number 2. If you start hearing voices in your head, speak up. Trust me, your party is going to need to know it. This entire island is filled with creatures that the Illithid have either fought or dealt with."
Mm-hmm. Understood.
Yeah. His exact name, and as he introduced himself,
We all get a business card.
he does not have a business card.
It
However,
gets projected in our brains.
there you go.
Thank you.
You got any 12s?
Oh,
That's not part of a deck.
and no card games.
What?
Trust me, while you're out amongst these forests, the creatures will take every advantage of throwing illusions onto you. You'll be playing a card game, having a good drink with your friend, thinking everything's alright, and then the next thing you know, your friend's head has been replaced with a giant leech as it's devouring him, and you're none the wiser as you continue to play while you're happily eaten by a plant.
I mean, if I gotta go out, I suppose that the plant's hand is
That's
the
just
right
not
way.
dying, Ned.
I also hand Ned one of my 12s because this is a really strange deck, and there are definitely.
I just
12s in
shoot Eider a look.
Skirtsman kind of looks at you and goes, "And last thing, and I want to make this very clear. There is nothing on this island that wants to be your friend. There's no kindness. There's no niceties. Everything here wants to eat you. You are the lowest thing on this chain. That is why the Illithid stay underground. Think about that for a moment. Everything up there is strong enough to eat a creature down here. The only creatures that are unable to be eaten are the ones that don't move. So, keep those rules in mind, and you might make it through this. Don't, and I get an easy job of a few days on vacation walking around the backcountry as you all lie as corpses until I return to pick you up.
Yeah, alright, I'm content.
Good. Now put away the damn
Does
cards.
that mean you're just going to keep walking like we didn't die?
Yes.
Good to know.
And Zebra will be informed where you died. He may choose to retrieve your bodies. Maybe he'll leave you for the plants and screaming mushrooms to enjoy. It's always quite interesting to see those mushrooms gain new personalities.
Not the food that talks.
Oh, friend, wait till you enjoy what they call a steak here. It moos at you when you cut into it, and not in a alarming or a fearful way. No, the thing seems to enjoy the feeling, which I don't know why Illithid feel the need to make sure everything has emotions.
Ned starts sliding down his seat to hide under the table.
Don't slide. Oh, we're gonna be smelling that the rest of the day. Alright, we move out in the next, by nightfall. It'll be easiest to get around for the first bit around this area at that point. You have the day to explore, enjoy yourselves. And don't worry, if you're wondering how long the time is down here, Zebril will let you know when you need to leave. He's quite capable of keeping track of people in his hive.
It'll probably be whenever we accidentally trip some kind of weird-ass calamity on this island.
Not leave the... He just, sighs and goes, no,
Look, I'm not saying I'm looking for it. I'm just saying it happens a lot more than I would like.
Listen, I say a lot of stupid shit, but I feel like that wasn't a smart thing to say.
You see Scarsmatter look over at you, Kez, and just give a glare and go, you just speak about your tiny dick not moments ago.
Well, yeah, like I said, I don't say smart shit all the time. So clear.
He
I think the
sighs.
sooner we leave, the better this will be for everyone. As Dom chimes in after just listening and silence this and watching this whole interaction.
Go amongst the town, find what gear you need to take care of yourselves, and prepare yourselves for this adventure. As he looks at you lot. Trust me.
Any stuff that might carry stuff that might help with spotting illusions?
Well, the only place that sells items in town that I know of are the Listening Knife Saddler and the Thundertooth, both of which are ran by Illithids of unique interests. Both could offer, I imagine. Or you could try knocking on Zebril's palace itself and seeing if he'll let you in and give you something.
I probably don't want to do that last option.
No, you would not. That was a joke. As he looks at you.
Haha. Yeah, I'm gonna go to that tooth one.
We'll come with you. I'm in the mood for trying to find something that lets you see through invisibility.
Do we think we will need basic things such as rations as well?
That wouldn't be a bad thing to pack up.
Never hurts.
Then we should.
He looks at you and just says, never hurts.
Oh.
My head pokes up from under the table. The rations don't talk too, do they?
Not in my understanding. If you stop by the honored Carriage Candy, if you go ask them for the Ton special, you'll get a group of donuts that will keep you fed for the day. A single one equals out to 3 rations for calorie density. Some are even known to be magical, from what I've been told.
Oh, I wonder why they call them Ton donuts.
Then
A large Zoraton exists on the island that you should, if you hear it shouting the words Ton coming towards you, you should get out of its way.
No, Tumberton.
Never mind.
You know him quite well.
What?
Tumberton.
Yeah. Yeah, he's quite a dapper fellow.
I don't know about that, but alright.
I think we should then make a trip for rations and basic supplies after the magic item shop.
Sounds good.
But I would also like to come with. I don't like the idea of us not being prepared for mind-affecting tricks.
My advice, as a member of the Order, is to recommend you all visit, at least at some point, the actual Eldritch chamber, or forges. They're on the opposite side of the town, in a little smithy quarters, you'll see it. There you'll learn, or you'll get to see a bit of truth that'll help you all. While you're there, ask them to enchant your items with lucky if you can. Trust me, it'll be a benefit for all of us.
Heard.
I've been there a couple of times. It's a nice place.
Then I suppose to the magic shop and then to the forges.
Magic shop, forges, then we can pack up supplies.
Yes.
Alright, as you head into town, give the DM a moment as he pulls up something in the background, just for a
Good.
note.
I'm pulling up the party funds right now.
Oh, you bet you're gonna enjoy how much everything costs in this town.
I mean,
Ned
if we have
bangs
to buy
his head
one
on the
item
table.
and split it.
Oh, yeah, as he gets out.
Knocks
that's
everything to the floor.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh, Ned.
Yeah. I'm just going through some notes of mine for something. Where is it? I know it's in here somewhere. Apologies, I'm just pulling up some note in the background. Huh, I thought it was in here. Maybe I'm wrong. Here, I'm gonna have my pocket DM look up something for me real quick while we get into it.
Go Gadget, pocket DM.
There you go. If you wouldn't mind taking a look for that real quick. Alright, yeah, as you lot head out into town, heading through into the main street and seeing the long rivers of this, like, almost golden, like, honey sap kind of flowing on the sides of it. Fountains almost seemingly dotting the town every few blocks of what looks to be different manifestations of Zebril and his greatness, handing out this material, or this great liquid, to the people. Some of the folks, or some of the Illithids and Thrycreens that seem to walk amongst the ranks of the town, have suddenly stopping and taking a drink of the material, and then continuing about their day as they go on, as you walk past. Where are you wanting to head first? As I said, you have the Thundertooth, or is known as a smithy. There is the listening knife, a saddler for magic items, and then the honored carriage candy, of course, for the rations, and then of course, the great Eldritch forge.
Well, admittedly, we're going to grab like stuff for like magic items, but if we're going to the Eldritch Forge, that might be a bit of a moot point.
Depends on what the forge has on offer.
Well, I was gonna say they might not have stuff to see through illusions. He mentioned getting like enchanted with lucky or something.
It is something to consider.
I mean,
We
I guess
could go
we
to the
go there
forges first.
because so we just get everything that we might be able to get from there, and then
Mm.
yeah, maybe the forges first. Yeah.
Okay.
What
What's up?
said to the forges.
All right, give me a moment to pull
Can't believe
something
the dwarf
up.
talked us into this.
Oh, never mind, Pocket DM. I found it. Cool. As you lot head to the opposite side of the town, heading towards what looks to be a kind of almost a traditional craftsman area that you'd expect in most of the larger cities. The road seems to be more, the stones seem to be a little bit smoother. You can hear the sounds of hammers going on all around. Small, like frog-like people with these big brain pans kind of sticking out, almost like parasites that kind of drag down off to their backs. Seem to be walking around, each of them being about like 2 to 3 feet height. As you head over there, you see a small purple murloc with its brain seemingly supported as it seems to kind of stick up off its back with this weird bit of crystal, like almost like a holder for it that seems to attach onto the creature's back. Propping it up, looks over at you. Its eyes kind of wide as it seems to notice you for the first time. Eider, you recognize this individual as Chok Chok, the owner, air quotes, of the Eldritch Alchemy Forge, as well as the majority of the forges in the Illithid hive.
Yeah, I tip my tall top hat to him and say, "Afternoon, Master Chop Chop."
As he looks over at you, he kind of smiles and starts to laugh almost immediately and goes, "Chok Chok, happy to see you, Eider. What? Bring giants around. They smell foreign. That one smells of shit," as he points to Ned.
I give him a wave.
Yes, he well, we won't talk about that. It'll just make you angry and potentially Zebril again.
He needs to bathe in the great Ambrosia Lakes. Maybe put him in the farm. I imagine he'd be good with the Moaning Tower.
I think we were just going to like take him away from everything so he smelled less ripe.
Reminds me of a group who brought around this cloak. Chok Chok no like the cloak.
Is that why the troll ass sign is around?
He nods.
Disgusting.
Naked. He kind of looks at you and smiles and goes, "Chok Chok, help."
Yes, we were instructed to ask for Lucky enchant, but we're also in the market for anti-illusionary things. We're to help Lord Zebril with the Goblin insurrection, and we're told that they're quite keen on ambushes.
Chok Chok can do lucky bonus on 2 weapons, but taking days to do with items. Would have to leave here, wait, continue mission later. Or buy new items themselves.
That's not ideal. I expect the lucky bit, in the very least, helps.
He nods.
Thoughts? Like, turn to the party.
Dom at the mention of saying, like, Chuk saying he can enchant their party's weapons, looks down at his fists, which are very much not items, but are his only weapons.
You have gauntlets on.
And as like Eider addresses the party, he goes, suppose depends how long we have before the diplomacy mission. If we are on a time crunch, we shouldn't wait. If we have time to burn, I don't see why preparing would hurt. Especially if we can get something that will help us see through whatever tricks they have.
And just kind of like shrugs and says, "It's not, whatever preparation we have isn't going to be foolproof. And so overly relying on it isn't going to do us any difference. having something in the back pocket to make sure we're like not caught with our pants fully down. I get, but
Then perhaps we instead turn our attention to the magic item shop and leave the enchantments to a later date.
Chuck, have magic item.
To see through illusions. Or
Crystal mask of detection.
Mmm.
Also,
we take a
discernments. Chuck nods and goes, Chuck, big brains only though that can wear it. As he like turns and kind of walks into what you, as you see a shop kind of suddenly appear that begins to expand into this almost like eldritch horror of an abomination of rock and flesh kind of combined into each other. At the center inside this, what looks to be a gaping mouth that opens up, looks to be a large purple battery-like structure. A beautiful strand of purple magic, almost like lightning, kind of striking through in this center glass capsule. As a little bottom output looks to have little bits of burning purple fire kind of exploding out, and a couple of other murlocs, different colors, hammering away at different items. As he kind of walks in, at the very back, you can see what looks to be a bunch of masks hanging up on the wall, all made of different types of crystal, but all the similar color of the deep crystals themselves. As he kind of heads into the building, he kind of like holds the door slightly and looks back at you lot and goes, Chuck, invite. Come in.
Dom will step inside, kind of taking a look around at the eldritch flesh walls. He does so.
They pulsate and move almost as you look at them.
As long as I don't hear voices in my head, again, like the weapons room, I will be fine. Disturbed, but fine.
I just whisper up to Dom, "You get used to it after a little while."
I whisper up to 22 feet.
Yeah, it's a stage
I don't
whisper.
think it's much of a whisper.
Chuck.
We need we have 2 tin cans on a string.
Chuck kind of walks you lot back to the back thing as the walls kind of just like a couple eyes opening up and looking at you a lot for a moment, then closing and vanishing. Little bits of flesh kind of expanding out, a ball seeming to push through the expansion as it attaches to another section of the wall, and as this wide bits of biomass seems to push through and disappear into the connecting wall, the connection seemingly follows after. This building is alive and moving. It is creepy and disgusting, and the sounds it makes are very off-putting. As it sounds like a bunch of flesh smacking itself one after another. But as you head in, the sounds of the therming of the hammers of the murlocs kind of begins to drown that out. Walking around that, at the very back, what looks to be a table with a fully embalmed hill giant's body, just the skeleton itself, fully and beautifully bleached, seems to act as the table. All around it looks to be this almost see-through like mask that seems to put the body on full display as the creature of Chuck begins to lay out these masks. As he does, he begins to put down 7 separate masks. As he looks at you and kind of smiles, each of them almost identical in their appearance except for a minor change to the letter at the center of it. Each of them kind of almost looking as if to be look to like a giant's face, as if it's supposed to kind of mimic the design of it. At the top of the forehead of the giant's fully crystallized mask looks to be, each one has either a D or what looks to be an I, a K, an L, an M, or a P. As Chuck kind of goes down the list looking at them, he goes, this one, mask detection, discernment, as he points to another, dread, detection of insight, knowledge, language, mind something, I don't know, Chuck not familiar with term. And he points over towards Eider's armor, kind of motioning to like his full plate, and then continues on to the last one that has a P on it and goes, craft.
Hmm.
All good masks. All help. Chuck Chuck.
You said only those who were intelligent could wear these. How intelligent would you say one would have to be? Out of character, I'm asking if there's an int
Yes.
requirement.
There is.
Scale from 1 to 20.
Yeah.
So there isn't a requirement to wear any of these masks. It's more of the fact that these masks will distort your features, just as a heads up. As well as the sides of them do have small holes for basically to kind of let you affix things to them. But beyond that, no, they don't have any requirements to wear them.
Okay.
However, yeah. Oh, I was gonna say for Eider, actually, this is really, even if it doesn't help him, this is a really benefit.
Actually, this might be really beneficial for all of us to find one that we might like, because it will help us disguise ourselves when walking through like Dragon's
Yeah.
Crown and stuff
I
like
will
that.
state,
Dragon, yeah.
it doesn't. It does not. It just distorts your features. So meaning like you will suddenly, instead of being like, for example, with Kez, instead of being like slightly red skinned or slightly more tannish in skin, his eyes being maybe a bit more glowing red, he would suddenly be a bit more paler. His eyes would be a bit more orangish or yellowish. You know, it basically would dilute and slightly
Gotcha.
change your normal features just
I
enough
mean,
to make it look different.
So it's more of a
And it just looks
cosmetic
normal.
change, not a. So it's more cosmetics and not actual structure.
Correct. Yes.
But for those of us who are lesser known, that could still be helpful.
Mhm.
Eider might be fucked. He's kind of, I think, well recognized at this point.
Well, actually, in this case, this would still, again, the smallest and slightest changes are usually enough to get you off the hook. And Eider's been well documented, so it's not like, I mean, his face is already well known. I will note for your own notes for in character. So each of these items do have different bonuses and do have different abilities. So keeping that in mind, since none of you have seen these items before, nor have you seen this crystal-like material before. Eider, though I will note, you have seen this amongst some of the Zebral's own personal crafts, as this is the same material he uses for some of his lesser items.
Gotcha.
I'm actually curious. So I know one was knowledge, but what
Mhm.
type of knowledge?
Chuck just looks at you and goes, knowledge.
All of it?
He just shrugs. Just, knowledge.
Can I sense motive, not to like determine if this guy's sus, but just determine like what,
What
he
he
means
means?
by each thing, like
Yeah.
context clues?
Go ahead.
All right. First roll of the night.
Decipher script, whatever the heck is.
You could also just try and contact poor Zebral in the background.
I was gonna say, can we have our guide contact Zebril and give us a rundown?
Eye contact simple.
24.
24. Ooh, nice.
Yeah, good roll.
Let me see. Don't mind me as I in the background. Okay. For each of them, the first one, as he says, detection. And that one kind of gives you the idea of search. It would basically increase your search ability. Discernment, you guess is most likely your sense motive.
I need that.
Dread, probably intimidation. Detection, insightfully, could be sounds like it's search, and probably either is most likely spot. Funny enough, because insight is what that becomes in 5e. Knowledge, well, I mean, as he says, it's just knowledge. It could be either all of them, or it could be just one knowledge specific, as you kind of think. Language makes you think that this probably has something to do with granting ability to learn language. Maybe it gives a specific language, maybe multiple languages, you're unsure. The mind armor, one, you guess, assumedly gives some sort of a bonus against mind effects, so like will saving throws, basically. And then craft, given the fact that this looks to be they're psionic crafters, you kind of put 2 and 2 together pretty quickly, don't you? That's probably a very specific kind of craft.
Honestly, how much does the language one go for?
As he holds out a price, let me confirm something really quick with Zebril, in the background, and he can message me. Zebril, are you charging the party fully, or are we, doing normal prices? I need to know how much racism I'm allowed to apply. I know that sounds weird out of context, but in this age, it's kind of accurate.
Hey, how much of a buddy discount do I get?
Yeah, that's really. Am I selling these at market price, or would Zebril be giving a discount, or would Zebril expect the party to still have to pay equal to what other adventurers and merchants would pay?
Upcharge, downcharge, base price.
Give him a second. He's thinking.
I feel like all of ours, except for Ned's, are at like a massive discount, and then Ned's like makes up the difference.
I know for me, I think even though I don't think the language one's gonna help, like in the near future, I think because I have such a high diplomacy, I feel like being able to at least either learn more languages easier or have access to more languages might help me in the future.
It's
Part
a
of
good
my-
thing to just have around in general.
Part of my fear with the knowledge one, although I think it has the potential to be the most useful, is if it's all knowledges, is your brain going to break? And if it's just one specific one, will it actually be helpful?
If it's all knowledge, I can only imagine it's a small boost to all knowledge.
Yeah,
or
I would
a
hope
decent
so.
boost to one knowledge.
I
Could
will
be
say,
good. I think.
some of these items are enough that I think Monday may actually come in, or not Monday, Saturday may actually come after you guys for them, because some of these are actually pretty fire.
I think Dom already has good stuff, like stats for them, but I think getting any of the D-based max
Okay.
would not hurt for Dom, just because having a higher score to those would just be more helpful.
As you look for price tags, Kez, there's not a price tag in the shop, though you do see people walking around talking to some of the other Murlocs that seem to be acting as merchants. As you look over, seeing one kind of making a deal, it looks like some sort of purple energy starts to flow from his head, and he just smiles and walks out with a small, what looks to be a small working hammer.
All right. So I guess I asked Chop Chop here. What do I give?
Oh, Chop Chop take memories, secrets, knowledge, ideas, favors.
So, what do you want for this? Not the language mask.
Chop sell normally, according to Hive Master, you're equivalent to 2,500 gold pieces. I would want a memory worth equivalent, something of value, something maybe to do with your recent ventures with the Lithotara creatures. Or maybe a fond memory of one's parentage.
How much was the GP value of these items?
That one was 2,500.
I'm wondering what they consider a memory worth 2,000.
How about the last meal I shared with my father?
Oh shit.
Creature nods and says Chok will accept. As you feel the memory vanish from your head, you no longer possess that memory, Kez, as it completely vanishes. However, you do remember making the deal to give up some sort of memory and Chok accepting. Not remembering what it was, you just kind of immediately have the feeling of acceptance and are handed the mask. I will ping you real quick what to add to your inventory.
Sick.
And it was the language one you said, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me find you in my PMs. There you are.
Damn.
I would say Kez is gonna be very happy with this.
Oh.
I think
okay.
this is actually going to be kind of helpful if he's going to be your diplomat of the party.
I want to
Yo,
say, I
this-
want to see how good the mask is before I make a deal.
You can tell them what it does if you'd like, but as Kez puts on the mask, you all see his features slightly get more gruff. His face becomes slightly less soft looking and a little bit more rougher. It's not a full improvement, but you look a little bit more tomboyish now rather than femboy.
All right. So
You're reverting.
the mask gives me the ability So it says each of the various crystal masks of language grants the wearer the ability to speak and write 5 different languages.
Ooh.
So I can add 5 languages to my repertoire, which is pretty fucking awesome.
That is pretty good. You just instantly get that.
It's only while he wears the mask. If he takes it off,
Yes,
he
while
loses
I'm
those
wearing it.
instantly. So that's the why it can be powerful, because it also takes up a helmet item technically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't currently have a helmet.
Oh, sorry,
Let's
never
look
mind.
at
I-
it again.
it's eyewear or goggles. Yes, I just looked at that myself.
Yeah, it's
We
like
don't
it's a
currently
lot
have
more
eyewear.
powerful than that, actually.
Oh shit, that's
Full of
awesome.
glasses.
Well, it is if you're not someone who is sun sensitive or you have like a sensitivity, because there are specific items that you need to get for dark vision or like certain visions around your eyes. But yeah, otherwise, yes, this is a major thing if you're not really caring about gaining extra vision.
Yeah, this is gonna cut down on if I ever wanted to learn language. Because what, isn't it like a year to learn a language or something?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
However, I will note you have to pick the 5 languages ahead of time, so you'll have to note that now.
Oh yeah.
Or you'll let me roll for it and you see what happens. I'll let you choose. You can either pick them yourself, or and you don't choose right now, but something for later.
Yeah. I'll choose
think on
them. I'll choose them later, but yeah, no, I got you.
Okay. Alright, but yeah, as Kez kind of takes the mask, kind of putting it on, immediately feeling the information beginning to flow through his head. I will say Abyssal is not one of the languages you can pick for that before you get your hopes up.
Alright, yeah. That would've been cool,
Anything
I was
else,
just
I'm
thinking
cool
that.
with. Any other languages you're fine with as long as you've heard it or you know of its existence, because that is a part of the requirement.
Recommend Infernal, given our
Yeah,
unique
honestly,
past
that's
history.
one of the ones I was thinking of.
Just make sure to write it down and PM it to me.
Yeah, I'm also gonna write down my sheet.
Please
with,
do.
Like the item description and stuff like that.
But as Kez takes the mask, kind of putting on and thinking, the rest of you look on, and Chuck kind of smiles as the purple energy flows into his head. His brain, that it's kind of still again sticking out of his head and kind of being held up by this large crystal contraption on his back that kind of lets it sit comfortably. Begins to kind of slightly pulsate and glow as the creature smiles greedily, and then looks back over at you lot and smiles again and goes, Chuck, offer mask for you?
I'll take. Well, I'd honestly like 2 because one is immediately useful, and the other one, I've no doubt I'll continue to use through adventuring. Yeah, like place like a finger on like the mind armor and knowledge ones.
Chuck nods, and goes, Chuck, knowledge is same as the, one that your friend just gained. The other, normally would be at 4 times the cost, but for you, as I've been told, the Grand Hive Master has declared only 1/4 of your memory will be taken in exchange for the price. Thus, what would you give for something that would be equal to what your friend Kez just gave, or what would you be willing to give that is a minor information, a recipe, what you had for breakfast in a foreign lands, the menu at an inn that you have visited?
So when he says like I only give 1/4 of my memory, does that mean like I keep like a remembrance of it?
No, what he means is you're paying 1/4 of the price. So that's why basically he's saying the Mask of Knowledge is worth only something as small as like a dinner menu at like an inn in a foreign land, versus the other item, which is, as you said, the mind armor. He asked you for something as equivalent to what Kez just gave.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about language, no worries.
No
The
worries.
menu of the inn we were just at.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I'll give him like the memory of like the first time that we ate at King's End, the inn that we were first there with for knowledge.
You feel that
And then-
zapped away as you lose that memory, even though you probably wouldn't have been able to recall that at any point.
Well, actually, I probably would have because I got news of my uncle still being alive
True.
and awake. So that was, that part is still like around.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not giving that one up though, because I still need that shit.
Yep.
And then, last meal with your dad. Oh.
Knowledge of a memory of a very cool rock you found as a child.
I'll give him like the memory of one of the times that I got to help Captain Bison like actually save a village from incoming disaster during like my forays into the wilds.
Okay. You feel the concept of the memory suddenly start to pull. The familiarity with Captain Bison lost a little bit more, though still remembering who he is, of course, and what he was. A piece of it feeling like, or a memory feeling like it's a bit more distant, a little less close as the memory fades. The creature's brain beginning to pulse. It smiles as Chuck does, and he hands you the 2 masks and nods. And then looks over at Ned and Domnander and goes, Chuck help Green Man, or I can't say that for YouTube, man. So. I don't know if we're far enough into the recording yet. We'll all get in trouble for that, so I'm gonna hold my tongue on that one.
Yep. I look at Ned, and I will. Dom will let Ned choose first, if he so wishes.
Any item?
After you.
Ned, you look back and you see
all the ones Ned wanted are gone.
He has more. No, he has one. He keeps
does he?
replacing them.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not just one of a
Oh.
kind. He has multiples of these
Oh.
items.
That affects my. Hang on. That
Yeah.
affects my choices too.
Yeah, no, he just, as soon as Eider and Kez picked up and like took the mask, he just replaced them with new ones, or like other ones that he sets down. For reference, from what you can tell, Zebra looks to be very well dug in here. Not only in his platinum production that you can see amongst a lot of the like little shops that you pass by, he's also selling a lot of these crystals like that he offers as like to the locals, not selling them to the public or the merchants that come through, of course. So it looks like he has an abundance of these items.
Okay.
So yeah. And also you can tell Chuck seems to have made a lot of these.
Ned would go for a language and a detection then.
Okay. Chuck smiles at you and goes, for the language is something of equivalent to your friends on the Bison or the last meal with your father. And for the detection, it kind of smiles for a second and goes, a lover, a last time you had been with a close one, a memory that holds a true piece of who you are.
What if they were the same memory?
If it is equivalent to a high enough price, I'll take one whole memory.
One of the last times I was with my grove, I had a night out in the wild having a good time with Jimmy the Snake Boy. We partied it up all night.
Dom's writing that down.
I as a player, need that lore. This is important.
Chuck smiles and looks at you and goes, that memory is acceptable. And suddenly you feel the last known location of your druid grove and the last fond memory you had of being close to anyone, Ned, fading away from you as Jimmy vanishes into a complete non-existence, a shadow of itself. And you lose complete memory of where the last time you saw your druid grove and where they were going to be.
Good thing they bailed on me anyway.
Yeah, I was gonna say, might not be so bad after all.
You also lose the last memory of the weird individual that had been brought in, the strange small young man named Nero. Although you always were sure that weird man smelled really like a woman, but talked like a man, as that memory vanishes. As he kind of smiles, Chuck, you see his brain pan growing slightly larger, the crystal kind of having to expand even more to hold the weight, as Chuck leans more forward as he does. And stepping forth, he hands over the mask of, you said it was detection or discernment?
Detection and language.
Alright, let me send you to... I will say, you can only wear one of these, so keep that in mind at a time.
I was about to ask.
Yes. So
Yeah, I
there-
was just getting one for later because
Yep.
I won't always need the mind armor.
No. These are, like, but it's something to kind of keep in mind as you go ahead and take a look at these.
Okay.
Uh,
Part of me
yeah.
really wants to commit to a bit, but the other part just thinks I should get something a little bit more helpful.
Chuck looks over to you and smiles, Dom, and goes, "And to you?"
I think Dom looks over the different the different that's a vague thing to say. Looks over the different masks and I think, considers them, but I think his gaze lands on the mine armor one and his hand like reaches down to touch the belt for a moment, and he thinks of like the prophecy he's heard, what's destined to come if he can't remove this, and we'll look at Chuck,
Yep.
which is it?
Chuck.
Out of character.
It's
Okay.
spelled with an O, but he keeps pronouncing it as Chuck.
Okay. The mind armor mask is where my interest lies. What costs do you require?
Chuck asks for, and you feel something in your mind, Dom, slightly, and goes, the last memory of your father's corpse rising, the sadness that you had with it, and the memory of the fight with the creature would be fair priced.
Is that the only memory you will take?
No, just in a recent one that you seem to have on your mind as an offering when mentioning the last meal with one's father.
Dom will like nod his head, and I think he will think, for a while, like a long time, kind of deliberating and thinking of something that holds like equal weight, but clearly not wanting to let go of that memory of like the thing that comes with it. And I think he'll look at Chuck and go, I offer an alternative. The first memory of mine as a young boy, of the first time I watched before me, mother by my side, when they killed an innocent man and oat ate his soul, and when I was told I was destined to have that be my future. The first time I watched life taken.
Chuck cannot take such a price.
Too much or too little?
Chuck does not want a memory of that value. Chuck does not deal with gods, nor does his grandmaster allow for gods to be dealt with. Those chosen memories are yours and yours alone, young one. No!
If it's
If you are...
memory. Memory. What? So it cannot have a god in it.
Not in this case, no, young one.
Out of character. Looking at my backstory, that affects a lot of options. That is not good news to me. Then perhaps something recent, but less recent. There was time I spent in the desert. I took many months, training under these people I met, snake people. Many things I had learned, many fond memories of the times I had watched them and become one with them. I learned their ways, shared meals. Would that, perhaps one of the first or last meals I shared with them, be of equal value?
Chuck kind of looks at you and goes, Chuck will take one. You must choose.
I think Dom will offer the last meal he shared before he left and headed back to Utham's lands.
Okay. As you feel the memory begin to vanish, the pulsating of Chuck Chuck's brain begin to kind of glow as it does. He smiles at you and hands you the mask. And you are... And what was the mask you're asking for again? The mind armor?
The mind armor one, yeah.
Oh, perfect. That makes my life easy. You and Eider are the same.
Yep.
Whoop, whoop.
Alright, boom, there you go.
Part of me really wanted the sense motive one, I'm not gonna lie.
Also, for those who want to know this, I'm just going to post this in the group chat so you have this information on crystal masks. That's just all of them in general. Keep that so you have that in mind. But as you kind of hand or take each of the or get these masks, Chuck kind of smiles at each of you as he takes the memory, and then going up behind the desk once more and looks at you lot and goes, Chuck also offers preparations for the weary adventurer. As he smiles and goes, Chuck put a piece of you, and he holds out a small crystal with a little ornate bottom to it that glows, makes the crystal glow slightly, and goes, into this so you may talk to your inner thoughts. Chuck believes that having someone else like yourself to talk to, you make every decision you can ask for. Even Chuck has one as he pulls out a small one, and it goes, Chuck believes that all of you are terrible idiots. And Chuck looks at it and goes, I did not say that. Chuck does not believe that. This was from Les Brainpan. As he puts it away hurriedly and holds out the crystal, the other blank side crystals, excitedly looking at each of you.
Can I...
Go ahead.
Chuck a wounded look.
Chuck no mean to hurt or either. It's old brain pen from times of the cryptic cabal running these lands.
We worked together for so long, Chuck. I didn't know you felt that way.
He looks at you with a wounded, concerning, trying to explain. But go ahead, Dom. What's up?
So these are blank side crystals he's offering, or specifically ones that will
No,
part of ourselves put.
He is offering to put a piece of you into the side crystal so you can talk to it.
I think Dom specifically hears that, and he doesn't he's still very calm and outside, but there's a slight tick of some discomfort at the notion, given what condition he has.
Chuck just smiles and goes, if you're thinking that this is a concern, let me show. As he looks down under the shelf and pulls out a little, what looks to be a soul coin, and shoves it into the crystal. The crystal immediately starts to glow, and you see the little basin starts to grow, expand out, turning into little arms and feet, and it starts to walk around, screaming its head off in fear, in some strange foreign language none of you, I believe, speak, because I don't think any of you have a reason to speak Elvish.
Not yet.
I was gonna say so.
Fucking Christ. Do not waste it on Elvish.
No, please, it'd be a very wasted language. Because this is primitive mixed with Elvish. So if you have primitive, you can understand at least half of what this creature is saying.
Oh, cool. I understand half of it.
It is just screaming in utter pain as if the creature keeps saying something about it being killed by a surprise of tentacles. Chuck kind of hurriedly takes the coin out as he looking over at Dom and Eider, seeing the slight change in their demeanor for a moment as they see the soul coin.
Do we have to roll save?
You do not, because funny enough, mind effects do not work amongst this hive.
Good. I was so worried.
It's the only area where you guys don't feel the pull for the first time as you see the coin. Eider and Dom, you also both do personally notice that you don't feel the pull towards this coin for the first time at seeing it.
I have a question real quick, Royce.
Yes, Kiz.
Goblin. Are goblins still a primal race? Or
yes and no. Goblin is Goblin is becoming a language, but it is still very much a primitive mixed language. So, because of the fact that it just recently became, they just recently became a nation.
Gotcha. Because I was thinking of throwing primal as one of the languages, and I was
Primal
I think
is
that-
elemental, is what you're looking at. Primitive
Oh,
is
so-
the common language.
Oh yeah, because primordial was the elemental speak.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
because primal is primitive. It's the same thing.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay, so they just speak the elemental tongue then?
No, they speak primitive. So primal,
Okay.
primitive, same thing. Primordial, different language. Does that make sense, or are you still lost?
So primal is different from. So primal and primordial are the same.
Okay, Grumpy fucked this up a while back. Grumpy, if you listen to this, I want you to know I hate you because you have managed to cause this to be a fucking 2-year issue. The last time, there isn't a primal language.
Okay.
It's-
No primal.
It's just primitive and primordial.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, primordial is a mixture of the elemental languages. Primitive is literally caveman speak.
Thank you.
Yes, alright, cool. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at Grumpy because he fucked that up and he got me doing
Yeah.
it and I kept doing it and now I'm getting mad and it fucking causes me problems now.
Gotcha, because I'm listing primordial as language. I was trying to remember what the undeveloped language was called.
Yeah. No, it's primitive is what you're looking for.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't recommend like spending one of the languages on primitive because it's easier, I
Being
think, to
able
learn.
to speak
Yes, it
to
is.
all primitive languages, like,
I mean,
Well, no, it's just a much easier language to pick up than normal.
it is. It's going to
Language
require
is
less
language.
learning, but it also, with Kez's rolls, it doesn't hurt.
Fair enough.
does,
Oh.
it, does it already have celestial and stuff like that?
That's up to you if you want. Up to you on how you want to spend your languages.
Oh, is the Fey language still Sylvan in your world?
Yeah.
Or is it
Yes,
something
correct.
so.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I still try to keep traditional languages as close as possible. But, as you, kind of see, Chuck kind of smiles and looks at after pulling the coin, playing it away back under the desk, kind of setting the crystal as it deactivates, kind of pulling its arms and legs back in and creating its, like, earth-like crown around the crystal once more. The thing goes quiet and Chuck just looks at you and goes, Chuck, don't mean to scare some souls, or some pieces not applicable with these items. Crazy concern can cause distortions. Normal sane, though, fully talk to you back like what you expect.
I fear with a specific condition I have, Chuck, that this item would be a risk for me to use, but I appreciate your generosity in the offer.
He nods. Or Chuck nods and looks at the rest of you.
So
I'd love one. Might help me point out flaws when I'm crafting.
my question definitely would be, is this like an actual part of my soul being put into this, or is it like a copy?
Chuck nods. Kez, give me a sense motive.
yeah. yeah, nodding to the soul part or the copy.
Give me a sense motive, yeah.
Copy of your
Thank
soul.
you. Yeah, right. Because if it's a copy, I'm a lot more partial to it. All right, let me see. Save changes and view sheet, because I was inputting the languages. All right. Sense motive. 18 sense motive.
It seems to be a piece of your mind, is what he's implying.
Okay.
So, not it'll have your personality, but it's not literally your soul being shoved into this thing, at least from what you can tell. Though, again, these creatures seem to work in strange magics. I mean, you've never seen soul magic, it just doesn't seem to sense like that from what you can tell.
Mm-hmm. Out of curiosity, what would be the price of something like this?
Chuck, looks at you for a second and goes, do you have something of value that you would be bartering with from foreign lands? Something we would not be able to find easily. Materials, creatures we've never seen, art pieces. We had one, as Chuck holds up a little golden statue of an elf with a very large appendage, astounding proudly, that reads at the bottom, the proudest member of the Mafasi clan.
Huh.
And goes, a merchant came through selling one of these and offered it as an exchange for, as he looks around and pulls out a small deep crystal that looks to be slightly cracked and broken, and goes, one of our defuncts.
I think he just wanted to get rid of it before he got executed.
He did say he had something called a wife that was very upset that he would buy something like this. I don't know what this concept of a wife was. Our Grand Hive Master says that this is like the Pleasure Tower, but for 2 people or multiple people, but I don't know. I've never heard of other creatures having their own moaning towers.
You're not doing it right.
God damn it, I walked into that. Fucking bastard. Alright.
I mentally high-five Zebril.
I can't hear you, remember that?
So he's looking for a piece of art, or like material.
So from what you can tell, so you can offer your memory or you can barter or something of value that just they don't seem to have access here. So something not necessarily expensive, but exotic.
Well, I still have the champion's cursed armor.
You do.
Don't know if I actually want to give that up just yet. Let's see. I mean, I have my Ella Ugbo idol, but I don't think I want. I think that'd be very not nice to sell.
Yeah.
If you do the one I just fucking made you,
I was gonna say, please give up the item and Zebril suddenly becomes the champion of El Ugbo. That'll make the world fucking scary.
Not the candle.
Oh.
The platinum idol that I got that's adorned
The
with
Orichalcum.
Yeah.
That's what the joke is. Like, suddenly Zebril sees this, becomes the champion of El Ugbo. Yeah.
Like, now's my job. Damn it. No.
He who carries the statue.
Well, what other? So, something. What would? I'm trying to think of a memory value then.
For this, it could be something well, he looks at you as you're kind of thinking and goes, memory equivalent to. That guy takes a second. Something you think defines you. You won't lose it, but it will become the value of the crystal. Violence. I don't think
The
you
right
want.
answer.
I don't think that's what you want as your defining personality. Pissed off Kez.
So, I won't lose that part of me, but essentially it's the thing that powers that crystal to be by my side.
He nods and goes, we will make a copy of it, and one will be here forevermore for Chok Chok and the Grand Hive Master to enjoy, and one will be given to you. That is the only cost you will incur.
Would the... no gods. Correct?
The creature looks at you and goes, if your god defines you, just be fearful that this will create a potential value with that god, and could create the item to have side effects that the Grand Hive Master may not be a fan of. He has made clear, none of you should bring gods to his territories.
The memory I was thinking about giving up was the day I became a cleric, but that might not be the best.
Really suck if this side crystal became a better cleric than you.
You know, because I was thinking of something that could keep me in line of, like, my clerical duties.
Could do it as the pastor or father who would have taken you as to train you, your master in a sense. Make that the memory. You have an old man yelling at you constantly, but hey, there you go. What's new?
Yeah, because that's what I was like trying to like think of, like how can I get the memory crystal to be kind of like a that's stupid. You shouldn't do that. This
Don't-
is how. This is the way to go for if you want to, be, in honor of Ella Ugbo, because I think that's gonna be a boon for me.
In that case, then instead of going for something specifically Ella Ugbo related, do one of the individuals that you think perfectly, in a sense, emblazon that person would be the idea. Makes it less
Gotcha.
godlike and makes it more of an individual personality that's human.
So, like, I guess we'll go with the memories of my teacher who taught me the ways of Ella Ugbo.
Chuck smiles, nods, and goes, as you feel your mind being pulled, and it's not comfortable. Give me a will save.
Good thing I have a +9 to will saves.
Mm-hmm.
But knowing Zebril stuff, it's an incredibly high save.
Did you roll that one?
Yeah, it's a 10.
It's 10. Oh, nice. So yeah, as you all watch, Kez says yes and seems to be something like has a fierce look in his eyes, and then he immediately goes pale white and drops to the ground unconscious. As the side crystal on the table begins to kind of grow and like expand itself out, and you see a little mini like old man face carved into the crystal that looks over and goes, "Back in my day, the men were a little bit stronger and the effeminate ones were even prouder. And he passed out at the smallest little poke."
Back in my day, our femboys were tough as nails.
I look back and forth at passed out Kez and the little person and just go, I'm not sure I want one anymore.
Yeah, I still want mine. I just like slowly like pack and like poke the old man thing into like Kez's pocket.
The creature like
yelling.
looks at you and goes, back in my day we had a lot more kindness for the elderly. I went around smacking,
Is there a ability? Yeah, Tom offers like a piece of cloth or something. Like, is there a way to... I cannot deal with this all the time. I will go mad.
You hear more yelling and not from from Kez's pocket as the creature continues to wiggle around. As the creature seems to or either kind of shoves it in there, shoving what looks to be one of Kez's like socks from his bag to get it more in there and tighter into the pocket. Chuck just kind of smiles and looks over and goes, "What else? Who else?"
Just like wave my head.
Nez
Nod.
will also hesitantly like raise his hand.
Tom's just like sighing.
Chuck smiles and looks up and goes, "Okay." Looks over at Eider first and goes, Chuck, offer Eider first. What would Eider like for his to be?
Just like focus on like inwardly. And again, it's not is. I guess I'd be dissatisfaction with how the world is, and it can be better.
Chuck smiles, slightly sadly or more sadder, and you feel the magic begin to pull. You have a high enough SR that I can't beat it with Chuck stuff. So right now, because I think you have an SR of 5, right?
I mean, technically, I don't have SR. I just have
Oh.
Spellfire.
Oh, I thought you did. Okay, cool. Well, this works. And I need a will save.
I have SR, but I'm not getting one of these.
Because this is psionic. This is not a spell.
I can at any time give myself SR, but that's a different story.
That's true. Let's see what you got. Will Eider also fall over after this, and will Ned be completely traumatized prior to paying for this?
That would be kind of funny.
Right? No worries. Take your time. Performance issues happen.
I got caught fully with my fucking pants down. I didn't realize I
Erectile
had my...
dysfunction.
God damn it. No, I just forgot to open like the character sheet. I thought I still had it open.
Wow. Alright, and you're giving Dom crap for deleting their character sheet, man.
Yeah.
Didn't even open it.
Well, there's a
Mine
significant
was
difference.
bugged.
I forgot to delete Ultimus Vissus from my character sheet.
Well, I didn't do too much better than because unfortunately I got a 12.
12.
Oh,
Nice. As you feel yourself go unconscious to Ned's dismay, as Eider says this, goes pale and drops.
I just go wider.
The
I
crystal.
think we're delaying our trip.
You hear the
Ned.
like Half-Life 2 flatline.
Yeah. The little crystal comes to life and goes, "Man, of course he fell down and went unconscious. The world sucks, and so does he." As the crystal just shows a very depressed-looking Eider. Which, funny enough, looks a lot like his uncle, Cinder. Said...
Oh.
As the creature, it looks sad and depressed at the world. It just sighs, just quietly, slowly walks to the edge, jumps off the side, climbs over, or walks over to Eider and climbs into his pocket and goes, "I'll see myself out."
There's something somewhat charming about this sad crystal, I cannot lie.
Let me send you something real quick, Eider. There you go, buddy. You can add that little note for your sheet.
So Eider's just constantly gonna be getting advice from his most depressed self.
It's yeah, until the world improves.
He's just gonna call your creations not good enough. He's gonna be like, "We're not trying hard enough."
I know you
Hey,
can
it's
do
gonna be a
better.
It's gonna
Brother's
be
got an
continual push
Eeyore
to
and a
do better.
crystal?
Hey, you got Old Man Jenkins in a crystal. I don't want to hear
Hey,
it.
listen, I'm used to Old Man Jenkins.
I don't want Old Man
As
Jenkins.
Ned stands watching this, eyes wider, as Eider just collapses on the ground. Chuck looks over, the smile on his face, his brain pulsating with purple energy, and goes, "Ned, would you like a one as well?"
Yes.
Good. What would be your memory or piece of you that defines you that you'd like this thing to take on the persona of?
So I'm not gonna lie, this is where not being a note taker might put a dagger in me because I can't remember the name. So maybe as I'm putting it out there, somebody will remember. Ned never met his parents, didn't really know his family. There was only one person that he's ever met that is potentially his ancestor. The person I met down in Abaddon.
Magic.
Yes,
Oh.
I have that. Don't worry, I have the note for that because that was
I wasn't there.
that. Don't worry, I've got it. That was, I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but I do remember that session because that's session 23.5. Because that is the second most viewed video of all of our damn session of every session for some reason. Alluvia, the life mage of House of Closen was the name of her.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll send you
I
that.
think for Ned it would be being given the guidance by Alluvia, and
Okay.
he's kind of unsure if he's doing the right thing in the druid way currently. So
As you kind of think about this, Ned, for a second, you suddenly feel your mind being completely pulled and combed through. Give me a will save.
all right, here we go.
You got this, buddy.
22.
Ned succeeds.
Oh my God.
As Ned, you feel your body begin to weaken and your knees begin to almost feel so like jello. But as you kind of manage to keep your eyes wide, you regain your color. Your body kind of standing strong as you kind of look on. The crystal shaping as it does. Chuck looking on you with a praising smile.
It's like the head rush from holding in a head a little too long.
The creature, Chuck looks at you and nods and goes, Chuck wants to try this holding in a hit very long.
I'll have to see if I got any in my stash for you.
Chuck Chuck has just been informed by the Grand Master he is not allowed to try this hit.
Oh, never mind. I will follow the rules set by Lord Z.
As Chuck Chuck smiles and holds out this little crystal, it shifts its color to green, and you see the face of it becomes this almost refined mix of giant and elven beauty. She looks on, and you hear coming to you, or in your ear, Ned. Well, aren't you just the sweetest thing, summoning an ancient demon to become a psi crystal? And Zebril in the background suddenly feels a ton of arcane energy coming from his shop.
Uh-oh.
However, Zebril is on mute and currently tuned into Melvin's channel while he is watching something else. So, as the party fights 12 five-headed hydras on another campaign. So thankfully, as this happens, he doesn't notice. But Ned, as you hold this thing, you feel almost as if this creature seems to have a little bit more sentience than the other two, as you feel your power growing slightly stronger and something in you stirring. However, nothing seems to happen. She sweetly kind of climbs up into your pants pocket, and also, Ned, you immediately feel the effect of prestidigitation as your pants are cleaned.
Nice.
Oh.
I just look down in my pocket. Thank you. It was starting to itch.
Oh no.
Yes. Chuck smiles over at Domnander. Ned kind of taking a moment, appreciating his effect. The creature looks over at you, Dom, and goes, "Can Chuck change your mind?"
After watching 2 of his party members pass out and witnessing the thing, like the talking crystals, Dom thinks back to the souls he has, specifically one of them being a fucking goose monster, and shakes his head a strong, not aggressive, he's still polite, but a strong no.
You
As I
could have
said,
Utham in your pocket at all times.
That's what I was
Dom.
about to say. You could have
I
only
don't
Uth
know
with
what
you.
kind of freak you take me for. Utham is my adopted father and a wonderful leader. My loyalty for him is ever burning. I'm not obsessed with him so much to create a clone of him. To speak, I can talk to him myself. I write letters all the time. Listen. I
Now,
know
what
some
about
of
if
you
you
don't
had
have
your
contact
dead
with your
father?
fathers. I have contact with my father.
Wow.
It's fine.
Yeah, but what if you had your
Ouch.
dead father over your shoulder?
I do not think that would be wise for my mental state. And I touched the belt.
As Kez and Eider begin to kind of regain consciousness, feeling their mind kind of clear, a piece of them feeling like it's a bit, their brain almost feeling like it's been exhausted, as something seemed to almost go through like a hot spear. As you two kind of regain your kind of footing, standing up, Chuck smiles as the crystals in your pocket are currently deactivated and goes, the way these crystals work is they only activate upon speaking to them. Do be careful. Each time you do, those saves will, or those weird and weakening feeling in your head will continue. They will get softer with time, but the creatures will take time to grow.
I like work my jaws. I think I landed on something. Ugh.
You landed on my shoulder plate, maybe, I don't know.
Kez sees suddenly a face of Eider emblazoned into his shoulder plate fully.
It's like
Cartoon style.
it's like the things Eider crashes into typically take on the shape of Eider.
Hey, go big or go home, I guess.
Chuck smiles amongst you and goes, "But Chuck has more items for sale if you are interested, or will you be going on with your day?"
Think that about so. Well, what else do you have? I guess.
Many things. One thing that is worth your entire memory. Many things. How about, as he pulls out this, suit of what looks to be, draconic and giant skin sewn together and goes, "Skin of a half-bred hero that we found. He was meant to slay a god, and Zebril ate him."
Uh,
I just like frown and just like shake my head. It's like, you helped me make Dragothex. You know you can't tell me something better.
He looks over at the rest of your party.
I am
wait,
satisfied with the mass.
Wait, whose skin is this?
As you look at this, give me a knowledge history, see if you can tell whose skin this is.
Because I think I know whose skin this is, but I'd like to confirm.
Whose skin do you think this is?
I think it's Aldrin. I think.
Okay.
Hold on. Knowledge history. That'd be 13.
As you look at it, you know, you haven't heard about any half-breed heroes recently. This doesn't fit any of the descriptions of the people that were fighting amongst the group against the god of Lithotara. This doesn't look like anybody else that you'd recognize. There's like some strange almost. Though it does have a slight familiarity to you, Kaz. You just can't put your finger on it.
Gotcha. So I'm just trying to remember if, because I think Caleb's character was half draconic, or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he's got a
Half
frowning
dragon.
face as his name right now.
Oh no!
Might be he learned. Well, to be fair, Saturday's known the fate of the individual for quite a while.
Oh
God,
no!
Saturday found out he got replaced by someone else, unfortunately.
Poor bastard. Because I mean, that's one of Utham's adopted kids, right?
No, he was working for Utham. Well, at least as
Gotcha.
far as
Now,
I
I'm
know.
not saying it is Aldrin. I'm just saying you feel
Oh yeah,
familiarity
it's
to
familiar. Yeah, no worries.
it.
This poor fucking
He
bastard.
kind of looks
I'm
over
in
at
the
you
Child now.
and goes, also have skin of iron, as he pulls out what looks to be a devil's skin. And again, this seems slightly familiar, but not to any of you in particular. Instead, just to those who've played in Monday, remembering a famous devil that had started with that poor party.
I do actually look at the fucking iron skin with at least a little bit of interest. Is it already like fashioned into armor, or is it raw material?
It is the skin of iron, so this is an actual magic item in itself.
Oh, okay.
It's basically grants its wearer a specific ability, but it's also super expensive. You can give me an appraise check to see if you can get a rough idea of how much this would cost you on the streets or in the market.
Yeah, what happened?
That way, give you an appraise to what you're dealing with to see what the equivalent of this. I will say you could retroactively turn this item into something else with your appraise. You'll get an idea of how much work you'd have to put in to do it, though. Go ahead, Kaz.
Yeah, I know. Like for me, I'm on the hunt for some new armor at some point because I think right now I mean, although it's still pretty good because I'm rocking a +1 plate right now.
Oh no, it's more than most adventurers.
Yeah, I know it's still pretty great. But man, always hunting for more and better.
I'll take a knowledge arcana, but it is not technically armor.
Oh, okay.
That is the only reason why I would say no. Normally, I would 100% agree with you.
Okay,
But
fair enough.
yeah,
Yeah,
technically
I'll
it
watch.
counts. It's actually skin.
Okay, that's a nat 20 for 37.
Well,
Oh.
fuck.
Alright. So yeah, this is called a psionic iron body power-up. Basically, it lets you, for 15 minutes per day, use the psionic iron body power-up. When the skin is not active, it basically has no protective qualities, but activating it does count as a skin-based thing, so this is something you'll be actually replacing your skin with. When you activate it, though, it is a standard action, as well as it does provoke an opportunity attack. However, for your record of what you know from what you've heard of Zebril talking about Iron Body, is that the ability, basically like the transmutation spell of 8th level, transforms your body into living iron, which grants you several powerful resistances and abilities, which I know you've played enough D&D that I probably don't have to explain what Iron Body is.
fucking Christ!
However, as you with the price on it, this would be equivalent to roughly around 2 million gold pieces in cost on the streets. This is from the material. This can only be acquired by a devil, or from a devil that specifically has been to Moors and returned, and it is impossible to get otherwise. And as that is a very rare occurrence to happen, this would be an item that, from your own knowledge, would be like a once in a lifetime. You're not going to see this again.
Well, I'm interested in as fucking that thing. Good God.
2 million GP. I wonder what like a memory of that equivalent would be.
With that appraise check, for your knowledge, that would account to roughly your entire memory, everything that makes you you. At 1/4 the price, it would be a quarter of your lifespan. Either you'd lose for memories.
You don't need your childhood.
Like that would be, and I think you're what 120 something.
101, I think.
Yeah, so that would be roughly about 25 years of your life that would just vanish from your memory.
You don't need that.
No,
need
so
that,
now the big question is it consecutive years or it's like when you're 1, when you're 35, when you're
Yeah.
when you're like
Get rid of
14.
the lame years. The year I pissed my pants.
And I won't know. When you see Chuck kind of demonstrate how the item works, he kind of puts it on this. He kind of takes it into his hand, and it turns into this almost like bluish goo. As he kind of begins to fold it up, he sets it onto his shoulder, and then says a strange word in a foreign language. This would be an equivalent of what is the Illithid tongue. As he speaks the words, the armor kind of surrounds his body as the ooze kind of expands down, and then makes his skin immediately turn to solid iron, as it seems to begin to move almost completely with his body without issue. As he walks around, jumps in the air, tumbles to show you that it's literally a second skin. Kind of taking it off as he does again, and holding it out in his hand, it returns back into just a simple skin suit.
We're just like kind of like doing the math, like.
I will say, for equivalent of what this would do class-wise, depending on when you use this quarter, you could lose like skills in your skills from your adventuring abilities. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. Well, I was also thinking like if there was a way to like work this one off.
As you think for a second about that, you do not feel this to be the case. As you something about this seems like this is an item only being offered to you lot because of your position, either specifically amongst several's friends. Otherwise, as you've seen amongst this town, this would normally go to one of the either the extraordinary gentlemen who work as, of course, several's personal agents, or would vanish to somewhere else, which, of course, those items you've never really figured out where they went. They just went down a deep tunnel that you never tried to get access to because that was the only place that Zebral said no to.
I am one of the extraordinary gentlemen.
Yes, which should tell you that's why you're being offered this. That's what I'm saying, is because of your position.
Fair point.
So, otherwise you would not see an item like this.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to fucking figure out a way to try and barter this down price-wise somehow, or pay for it.
Chuck just looks at you and goes, Grandmaster of the Hive says he can hold the item for you if you would like to come up with something of value. Find an item worth bartering for it, if you would not like to give up your memories of a quarter of your life.
There's like nod and like the full like dwarven like avarice is on display, like stroking his beard, thinking like through like every option.
To the rest of you, would you be interested? If you wish, it can top either or can maintain the price of this item. Then I am happy to give it to you. Otherwise, I will hold it for your leader. As he looks amongst you.
Right. I don't want to lose roughly 150 to 200 years of my life. No, thank you.
Creature
I
nods.
think it'd be a lot more for y'all because you're a lot longer lived.
Well, that's exactly it. It's a quarter of his current life.
Yeah, I'm around I think
Well,
700 something years old.
For us, wouldn't it just be our full lives because we don't have Eider's discount?
Ah, yes, it would be your full
Wouldn't
lives. Yes.
matter-
Yeah.
wouldn't
No, it
matter
is your
how
full
long
life
we live,
because
it would
Eider's
just be everything.
Eider is the 1/4. Yeah, because none of you are old enough
Yeah.
yet to.
The Dom is strongly refusing on that premise alone.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'm not giving up all of my 700 years of life. I'm good.
At that point, I might as well make a different character.
Chuck no.
What's with Iron Body though?
I don't know what Iron Body is. I have something
you
that
know
can
what,
be grasped. I don't need it.
I'd consider giving up Eider's lifespan in my years, but
Chuck can offer an alternative. One of the quests you all will be going on will come into contact with something I need for Skin of Defenders. Bring me the body specifically. I will cut it down and do what I can for you.
I have a question. Weren't we also sent here because there might be information about what we're about to go do as well?
Chuck looks at you and goes, "What? I have no news or information. I'm a simple merchant and craftsman."
Do you guys not remember that?
You should appear
Remember
for the lucky.
Sorry, I was too fucking busy trying to find ways to get out of paying like a quarter of my life. What were you asking?
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we were just offered, to bring him the skin of something.
Yeah, skin some.
Oh, we're not
Trying to
fucking
find
getting the Apex monster skin. That's not fucking happening this life or the next.
Maybe at some point. But yeah, didn't our guide, our wonderful guide, tell us that we might find information about what we're about to go up
No,
against? So we're at the
items that would help with it. That's what you bought the masks. Yes.
Gotcha. I thought information was his note.
No, he mentioned specifically to get items because the lucky enchant on your items because of the fact that otherwise you guys will get fucked with mind wise.
Yeah, I guess unfortunately we can't get lucky on our stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys should get lucky. Alright, we want it. Nah, it's gonna take too long. Oh, alright.
As you look on, Chuck looks at you lot and goes, "Anything else Chuck can offer for any of you?"
Do you actually... So I know you said it would take a couple of days to get lucky on our items. Do you have anything already in your arsenal with lucky on it?
Yes. I have 3 spears, 2 scimitars, a great hammer, a great axe, long sword, bastard sword. We have quite a selection, although not the sturdiness of the metals that you outsiders work with. All our stuff made with, as he points to the crystal, kind of ordains the mask as well as the psi crystals. Easily shatter. He nods.
Gotcha. When a crystal shatters, does it still hold its properties, or is it dissipated?
The properties should work, but the weapon will be broken. We can't reforge easily. It takes days to recreate.
Editor just kind of nods.
So, what does just as a reminder for myself, what does lucky actually do?
Oh yeah, so as you note, he will explain that, because that is actually really important. You know what lucky is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because I think I know from 5e it lets you re-roll something, but
that's actually in 5e. That's exactly where they got from the psionic enchant, because I don't think the base enchant of lucky works the same way. A lucky weapon offers a second chance at a success once per day. Wielder can re-roll a failed attack roll, whether a single attack or one in a series of multiple attacks, as a free action. The re-roll uses the same bonus or penalty as the missed roll. And this is based on the Fate of One power specifically for Zebril, even though he is, I just realized, deafened. So.
Gotcha. So essentially, if it's on a weapon and you miss, you can use the lucky to re-roll that attack.
And based on what you gathered so far, it's implying that this what your guide is stating, that with your mind being fucked with, that probably means that they have some way of avoiding being hit with the first attack. Which also probably gives the idea that these creatures are not going to be very strong, but very nimble. I mean, if you didn't already figure that for goblins.
Yeah, especially blue goblins.
And your guide, by the way, is not with you guys, just to know. He is still back at the tavern.
Yeah.
Because he never came with you a lot.
Yeah, I figured.
And then for your, also for a note for why the crystal thing matters is the hardness of these weapons is much lower than your metal weapons. So this will be a lot easier to sunder and shatter your weapons.
So, if these like crystal items break and they still hold the lucky property even when broken,
You could.
does that
Mm-hmm.
mean that we can pulverize them in a lucky powder, implement them with an oil to make lucky oil to put over our weapons?
No, you can just repair it. It's broken. It's not destroyed.
Well, now actually, hold up, because Kez, give me an intelligence check for that, actually, because that's an interesting crafting thing. That's a good question, because that has not been discovered yet. There isn't a lucky oil, but hey, you know what? If you roll high enough, maybe you'll get something interesting.
I
But,
feel like
you know,
this
like,
is,
I-
gamer girl bathwater would count. wouldn't
Oh
it?
my god.
Yeah, suddenly you
so-
turn into a successful OnlyFans chick. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, right. Remind me what the
Intelligence
roll
check.
is. Intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
It's like an inspiration.
Yeah, you know, just a little genius moment. Let me see. What is okay? A 18.
So you think about it for a second. Yes. Contemplating deeply. It comes to realization that in theory, the idea of the oil does not work. But you're pretty sure that if you crush this material up and had either mix it in with the metals he works in naturally, if the enchant could survive the process of Eider's crafting, in theory, it should stick to the weapon. Now, you also, as you realize, if Eider can see the enchantment, like as he's done before as a craftsman, he can theoretically reproduce it. However, noting that this, as you kind of take a second, is a specific kind of power, it may be impossible to recreate. So, yeah, this is a one-time thing if you decide to do it, basically.
Gotcha. And
Yeah.
now I whisper all of that to Eider.
Yeah. And Eider suddenly realizes Kez isn't just the pretty face that he thought he was.
I just like sometimes he just has two synapses that find each other in the dark.
Is that the worm? That is the
Light-
worm joke all over again.
Yeah, right. So the two worms found each other. They made some friction.
Yep. Oh,
Yeah,
man.
but that's my mental contribution to this party for the next 3 years. I hope you all enjoy.
Thank you.
Chuck also looks at you and goes, can make higher items, power storing, mind feeding, parrying, manifesting, mind crushing. Can do all sorts of enchants to items if left alone and with materials.
You said you have a great hammer.
Chuck nods.
I have a question. A great hammer, is that like an exotic weapon? Does that require its own separate proficiency, or is it count as like a martial weapon?
It is a martial weapon. It's just a reflavored great axe. Instead of doing slashing damage, it does bludgeoning.
Gotcha. And they're two-handed, I believe, right?
Correct. Because that's one of the few weapons I never understood why 3.5 never adopted, although I know why, because I have the club, but, it's the same thing. But yeah, he looks at you and shows you this giant crystal warhammer that is literally one solid piece of crystal that's been hammered out specifically.
I mean, I guess it wouldn't be a bad idea to have, but I think my current hammer is. Fellas, what do I do? I've done my thinking, and I'm having a hard time deciding if I should actually have a lucky weapon right now or buy it and just get it pulverized later.
I don't know. I don't feel like that's a choice between you and your god.
I will note, just for the idea for Eider's perspective, because his armor crafting is and his weapon crafting is high enough outright from the base, and that even if you rolled a nat 1, Recreating this Lucky, specifically this one, would be, or to put it into your medals, would be one of the hardest tasks you've ever probably done. Because this is a foreign kind of magic that to you would be... I mean, it's the idea of being an English speaker trying to figure out how Mandarin works. As just a general example, they're not very compatible as two concepts of the same thing. Even with Zebral's help, you'd struggle pretty hard. You're pretty sure.
Gotcha. I relay it back to Kaz. It's I mean, it has potential. It's just going to be a much longer term thing. Luckily, I can, frankly, once I do it once, I can practice with it until I figure it out. But that's, an entirely different conversation. Because I think to my fucking practice pocket dimension.
Mm-hmm. As you think about it, you are pretty sure you couldn't use this material there. The magic would not theoretically work.
Oh, it wouldn't duplicate it like it does on other stuff?
Correct. Yep. It would just become a mundane material at that point. So you'd be able to take it in there and work with the material. You just wouldn't have you wouldn't know if the enchant would take, basically.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
There's a limit
Gotcha.
to some of it.
I reject.
No, that's fair. Zyder thinks for a second, goes, scratch that.
Scratch that.
So you can pick it up now. Hopefully save it for a raining day, or it's just up to you at that point.
Chuck looks at you and goes, if you have materials and equivalents, Chuck can make a hammer special for you from those materials with the enchant while you are away on mission. Bring back materials, can make them too. You will be here for 3 months expected.
I think it might be best to foray first, find out what we're dealing with in our terrain, and have a shopping list when we come back. We're going to be underprepared no matter what, because we just aren't familiar with this place.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have materials really right now for this individual to craft with anyways.
The upside is goblins typically die pretty fast when you hit them. It's just a matter of hitting them.
Chuck nods and goes, goblins on this island are weakest creatures. Lowest on food chain.
According to that dwarf, we're even lower. Oh boy.
True, as he nods vehemently. And he points up to his glowing purple large brain that's kind of slightly still growing and pulsating as it does, and goes, without one of these, you all how weak. Unsophisticated, as his brain kind of glows with a pulse. If you wanted to scream at you, either, in a lot of surprising pain and shock, yeah, you can, technically.
Well, it's just thinking, I could
Won't do
weaponize
anything.
depression.
No, yeah, it won't do anything. All it's just gonna do is act as basically a crystal, like a traditional crystal, so you can refine the point, I guess, if you wanted to create a little laser point. That's what I'll give you. There you go, you can refine it.
I think I'll probably just rely on me not moving on my attack turn, so I can just hit him twice without needing lucky. Here's hoping.
Smart. Alright. He Chuck kind of nods at you and looks about the rest of you and goes, if you change mine, Chuck make items and from materials gained. Mine, Zebral has stated, the great master of the hive, that you may mine the upper ground as long as you report on your findings and anything of value, so that way we may, if it is of help to the hive, we may go and grab it in mass production. Just, of course, within means of amongst what you grab.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
You're not making a ray of depression, goddammit, either. Chuck looks at the rest of you and goes, if you need anything, Chuck here for you.
Thank you, Chuck.
As Eider suddenly meows in the background.
Oh yeah, no fuck it. I'm gonna go. Well, no, it's like debating on like feeding them, and like looked up, and like that's like 6 minutes for them to like have their food. So
Time to step away.
Bucket's like, yeah, that's canonical.
Yeah, right. As the rest of the party kind of thinks. As the Chuck looks to the rest of you, kind of expectingly. If you have no need, feel free to see yourself out. Otherwise, I have more items to sell you if you are interested. As Chuck
What
looks
kind
with
of
a
item?
hunger. Homemade items, local items, items of great value, items of the mind.
Can you
Mm.
actually take a look at an item for me that I have?
Chuck nods and goes, Chuck can identify and minor ability to tell cursed.
Are you able to see what is inside of a bag of holding without actually knowing what's inside of it?
Chuck shakes his head.
Oh.
I would need to know what you're talking. The bags of holding only work if you can picture what you're looking at to pull out.
Gotcha, because I have a bag of holding from, I believe, a former champion of my deity, and it was full, but of course I have no idea what's in it.
You can't open it unless you know what's in it. Have you thought corpses? Usually works for me.
I can do that.
Are you okay with me thinking of that while here, or do you want me to do that somewhere else?
Chuck looks at you and shrugs and goes, the Grandmaster can deal with anything that arrives or surprises him. You are welcome to do as you wish, please do not do in my shop.
Alright, cool. Yeah, I was wondering if you... Alright, cool. Not here then. Understood.
Creature looks at you with a suspicious look on its face.
I have no idea what's in this bag.
Nods.
Adam back.
I've been sitting on this full Mark III bag of holding for so long.
Yeah.
I have no idea what's fucking inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
You just start guessing shit at night.
Maybe not at night when the party's asleep.
I don't freaking... last thing I need is to, like, pull out a construct or something and get my shit pushed in. I don't know.
Well,
Why
don't
would
think
you
about
give
pulling
them-
out a construct.
I guess, but...
You have to guess the thing. Like,
Think about Ella Ugbo and then behold.
It's the bastard child of Ella Ugbo. Just
Yes.
like that.
As you kind of step out of the shop, kind of nothing left to really buy from the creature. I mean, just given the kind of looking at your bag of holding, are you gonna try and think of corpses in the middle of the street and see what happens?
please do
Maybe not
not.
in the middle. Maybe not in the middle of the street.
I will say, you do notice as you step out of the shop, there's like about 20 or so illithid that are now starting to kind of follow you in the shadows. They're not making their appearance unknown. They're just not trying to be like very alarming as they seem to be following off to the sides.
Do we
Listen,
have the
I
phone call?
totally understand that it is probably for the best that I am not left unattended. I get it. Especially with the things I just asked about what might be inside this bag.
Given that what you just stated, yes, because you did state out loud, this was the champion. This was the dead champion, or the dead dead champion of my god. So yeah, no, you've got Zebral's full attention now. As his hive is seemingly kind of keeping an eye on you from a distance as you step out into the street.
I'll ask, is there a safe place I can see what's inside this bag real quick? At least go through a few options. I don't want to step on anybody's toes here.
You begin to feel in your head a voice of, and it tells you to go to in front of the large museum called the Grand Hall of Chess and stand there. It also, the voice continues in a very monotone voice. It's a grand and interactive museum displaying statues of each of the 101 elite chess.
Oh my god, it's... What, is it like the Wolf's lineup of characters he brings in? like Chastopheles and
Maybe?
Chastophilus and stuff like that.
As you see a massive domed building with like 5 levels of windows that are ornate with glass and beautiful craftsmanship to the outside of the building, as you head that direction.
Alright, nothing could possibly go wrong.
Famous last words.
As you start heading the direction, the sounds of the moaning tower echoing across the city, the reddish amber liquid kind of still flowing on the sides as many people seem to the hive seems to clear the streets with ease. These elite illithid that are following you seemingly not having to doing policing as the city almost reacts to your every movement. Because you feel very much like you are under some spotlight at this point as you're walking through the street.
You know, I mean, hey, you know what? The best part about this is no traffic.
Yeah, as you kind of hurriedly walk through the streets, so seeing the beautiful marble designs, the platinum engraved with the stone, the statues of Zebril in all these different forms, doing different deeds for the town, you finally make it to the large building. The building itself looks to be almost from the outside a massive like ring-like shape to it. However, from this side, it's hard to get a real detail of it, though. Even the pillars that seem to kind of dot the entrance seem to be of the top 5 chasts, each seemingly standing more proud than the other as they look down at the person who would come up these stairs. As you look up, excited, kind of surprised, and feeling a strange excitement and interest that seems to be not driven by your natural curiosity, but something about the place and the surrounding. You all begin to feel the slight interest in this museum in its own right. But as you stand there, the illithid kind of begin to slowly circle, getting closer to all of you as they do. Ice, the snake, kind of tightening their grip around Ned a little bit as they seem a little concerned as Kez holds the bag out.
Fighting.
Oh, sick! The rest of them are also here. Okay, good.
Right now.
Wait, what? Sorry, Dom?
Dom's fight or flight instincts are kicking in. He's trying really hard not to react.
Well, Dom is identifying every escape route with his eyes dotting everywhere.
I'm motivating all these illithids and getting nothing, and I hate it.
As all 3 of you stand watching Kez with the bag of holding Type 3 in his hand, the really massive weight to it, as he looks to be kind of slightly struggling with it as he holds it up. Yeah. What would you...
Well, corpses then.
As you think this, you see a creature pop out that looks to have ape-like skin, 2 massive heads that look to be baboon-like with strange, these massive reddish and purple fangs that seem to be made of solid metal. A strange black ichor that looks to have dried along its side, its chest completely lacerate as this creature falls out. It is about 75 feet in length as the creature fully plops out onto the ground. It is massive. Blade cuts everywhere. You can see this creature has been slashed to no other, missing its family jewels, clearly that were chopped off and lost somewhere else. This beast looks like a massive demigorgon.
Zebra, what do you want for it? Unless I or you want anything to do with this.
Oh, I was gonna see if I could trade it for the iron skin. Admittedly.
I will say, almost immediately,
Yeah. What would you like for this?
you all
Zebra?
begin to notice the blood begins to form into another creature, and things start to plop out of the wounds as the wounds start to expand out, and the body is starting to form things. The illithids start shouting in your head, Kez, "Put it back! Put it back! Put it back!"
Putting it back.
Put it back, put it back, put it back.
As you say the command, or say a command word, the thing reactivates, sucking the corpse back in as the creatures scream in hatred as you feel 1,000 evil spirits and evil outsiders pulled back into this bag of holding as it seals shut. A holy light kind of glowing around the string as it tightens itself.
Gotcha. So that's what this bag does.
Okay, yep. We're never using
Has-
that bag again.
In the friendliest way possible. What in the fuck was that?
Well, you know,
I will note
this
none
might
of-
be.
None of you have ever seen one of these creatures before.
Hey, maybe if we get into a tight spot in Dragon's Crown, we can release this to cover our escape.
For Zebril and
Drop bomb at the same time.
what Eider hears in his head is, a creature of that is the equivalent of one of the apex monsters. When that thing is let loose, the body released, 1,000 evil demons and devils will be produced. That is a walking divine nightmare.
I relay that to Kaz and say, so don't do that. Unless you really want to wipe out, like, every innocent life in, a few thousand miles.
You know, that's not a thing I would do.
So that's now on the list of things that we no longer touch.
Well, if we are in enemy lands, I do think it is a valid backup option if we want to also risk our lives.
I just pull out thing of vellum, pull out a stool, and just march myself up to Dom eye
No.
level and just bap on the nose.
Nope, I would dodge it. I could see you coming.
I don't even think with a stool you could reach Dom's nose.
No.
Fuck you! I can
it would
fly
reach,
30 feet
my
in the air. I can
bicep.
get up to him. I don't care.
Okay.
I fucking have air step sandals. I can airwalk my way up there.
It's
Tom
a bag of
just swats
holy.
Eider away like a fly.
Good lord.
Not with those biceps.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
you're heavy, but also I am quick.
Hey, maybe
I
if
don't
I
need
go
to
over.
Push you away. I just need to grab your hand.
Don't make me paralyze you for this gag, goddammit.
If we go over to the what's the that old Nine Lord, one of the Nine Lords called? It was Blood's End. Yeah, that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Release it in Blood's End's territory.
Maybe we just don't use a indiscriminate war machine on an undefended populace, more or less. Maybe that's just
I
not
never
something
said
that
an
we're.
undefended populace.
It's more so me using it against an undead populace.
I think if we are in war against more of Uthatara's people in the future, or in the war against soldiers, because Mavasi's entire fucking army is sent after us, I think in the worst scenario, when there are no other options, which includes Zilpip's white phosphorus bomb I still have, it is an option.
Yeah, no, but I think if I
No,
release
I'd
this
rather die.
against a living army, no, that's probably an incredibly evil act. I'm not allowed to do that.
Yeah, if it's genuinely between my life and the lives of potential thousands, no, fuck that. There's no reason.
Now, using this against a horde of undead, maybe.
Well, the problem is that it's unlikely to stop, and then it'll keep going.
We can handle it.
Look, hypotheticals aside, let's just leave this because we're not ever going to agree on this at all.
I mean, I understand that.
As you kind of look at the item, realizing that this bag of holding has been used for sealing some ancient demonic beast or devilish-like beast, Kez, as you feel the kind of realization, keeping the bag sealed being the best bet for the time being, and tucking it away a little bit more tightly into your backpack so no pickpocket accidentally grabs it.
Oh man, that's something.
The illithids begin to spread out and leave you alone as the town kind of repopulates after you put it away.
You know what? Maybe releasing this bad boy in the Dark Continent. Who knows?
I don't think I wanted to give it a turbo meal. That seems like that's gonna backfire horrifically.
Yeah.
As you lot though see the people kind of repopulating, some going into the museum, you reminded that you left your guide and have a mission to do other than collecting rations. Was there any place else you wanted to go?
I guess all there is to collect rations now and then.
How much time did we have before night?
You weren't told. You were told that Zebril would contact you guys when night would hit.
Yep.
Do we still have time to go to the magic item shop, you guys think?
I mean, we kind of. I mean, I guess.
You try.
None of us got anything that specifically makes us immune to illusions, I want to point out.
That item doesn't exist.
Doesn't? Okay.
Nope.
Yeah, there is no such thing as just something that says fuck
Well,
illusions.
not necessarily immune.
Not in normal D&D, that is.
Okay, I want to express to you the amount of not fucking affording that item, even if it does exist.
Would we have at least an hour or more?
Yeah, easily.
I
Okay.
mean, I've got a pretty expensive item on my side right now.
As you lot kind of stand there talking to each other, you see one of the Illithids kind of walking up, dressed quite well in scholarly robes, keeping their natural form, though reforming their head into what looks to be a giant's face. Unfortunately, you realize too late that it is Regan Utham's face, not as the creature does not seem to realize the significance of the individual to you all. The creature, though, stepping up, kind of begins to speak with Utham's voice, as each of you hear the voice in your head, but do not see the creature's, or don't actually hear anything physically. As the creature speaks and goes, "Our master has decided to grant you all a special gift as well, before you all go on your mission. Something to wish you the best, and I do apologize that we had not caught you when you were at the inn. We were quite alarmed by this thing you called shitting on the floor. Not many of the other creatures do this, and it took us a moment to recalibrate our understanding of your cultures. We
That is not our
apologize."
culture,
I'm
that
glad
is
I taught
Ned's
something to you
culture.
today.
That is Ned's culture only. I want to make expressly clear to your
No,
master.
don't let Dom lie to you. All
Ned,
giants.
you are
We
lying
all do it.
right now to Zebril
We don't
himself.
shit on the floor, Ned.
I
Yeah, we do.
understand there's a misunderstanding, a subculture here. But
Yes.
I must explain our gratitude for you coming here and taking on this mission, not only for your gift of existence, but as many adventurers don't find themselves willing to try and help us tame these lands, we want to show you that we do appreciate this, and that without you, we could not achieve our goals. As you see a few other Illithids begin to show up, looking more like normal, what looks to be some of the bog giants, some of the eldritch giants that you guys have seen, so many of them that you would watch die during the war. So these creatures not really understanding the context of what they mean, just seeing a face that kind of fits to what you look like to them, and a memory that kind of seems to pop up slightly in your subconscious. The creatures begin to kind of appear like this, these morbid-looking faces, but as they walk forward, they hold out what looks to be a necklace of blue lays. Something that Kesnok can't seem to get at all. But as no, yeah, I tried.
Oh,
Yeah,
quite
no.
literally lays.
Oh, god damn it.
I was trying to figure out what the fuck those were, like a flower or something.
And I just shot a wounded man. I feel proud of myself for it. Don't worry, Kaz. But you're handed these necklaces. They look to be made of like with platinum chains, having these beautiful blue crystal-like flowers that seem soft to the touch, as they seem to kind of begin to walk up and offer to put them over your heads as the creatures wait for your consent as they kind of stand. The one with the Utham's face begins to speak again in your mind and goes, "If you will allow us."
Sense motive.
Okay, give me a sense motive.
Just
Attaboy.
on the principle that it's offering me an item in the face of my adopted father, and Dom is by instinct suspicious.
So anyway, I take the item.
Right.
I just want to roll for funsies. Didn't roll great anyway. Or actually, that might be bad that I didn't roll great.
Yeah,
So that'll be a 16.
Okay.
I'm gonna see what happens to Ida first.
What are you trying to tell?
What is this? What does this do?
From what you can tell, they don't seem to have any hostility towards you, and seem to be offering this out of a kindness, like as they personally and sincerely believe that this will help you.
Yeah, I think Dom, like, on instinct, sees this Ilta turn into, like, Utham, and, like, already is, like, tensed up, and, like, how tall, like, it is Utham, so it would be taller than me, like, approaches with it, and Dom has this mental moment of being like, oh, I don't like this, but that he, like, lets it happen. He's not gonna get hostile, he's just, like, uncomfortable.
As Ida puts it on, nothing seems to happen. As Dom puts theirs on, again, nothing seems to happen. It seems, as both of you feel it, the flowers are, while they look to be sharp, like actual crystals, when you touch them, they are soft as silk, and they seem to bend and move. They smell pleasant, of a light lavender scent. The creature puts it on Kez, and the last one looks at Ned.
I'm not gonna lie, I zoned out a little. What is the offering?
It's a blue lei, like the Hawaiian flower, but made of like crystals and a platinum like necklace that they're attached to. They're offering to put it onto your head, onto your neck.
Well, I do like getting laid, so go ahead and put it around my neck.
That is exactly what I was thinking in the background. That was funny. Thank you. The Star Wars thing was right.
Yeah, the Star Wars medal. That's exactly what came to mind.
As each of these put on your neck, they immediately, as Ned puts his on, they start to tighten, and you feel a slight and sudden understanding of each other's emotional attachments and personalities. You are now all slightly linked in the background, not in any ill effect. However, to note, as Ida realizes too late, that the colors also have a side effect. As he reads the runes that suddenly appear, and they appear in common to make them very easy to read, which makes it very clear they're meant to be read. And it reads, "For those who cannot benefit from decision, though they will learn a shocking lesson."
They're trying to tell us to get a move on.
You feel a message in your head of, "I was told to make you stronger and a better party. I will make you adventurers capable of slaying those gods that bother those you care about." And that's all the message you get as the thing is cut off.
Do we detect, like, the surface thoughts of each other, or just, like, the emotional states of each other?
The slight emotional states, as well as you now have a sense of where each other are at all times.
Dom, the party would detect from Dom's, like, suddenly being linked, like, a fast surge of discomfort, and then a little bit of, like, curiosity seeping in as he, like, looks at his necklace.
You all, I assume, similarly imagine, are kind of a little bit concerned. Ned, who's completely lost as his joint kind of burns through.
Just
PMU
looking
question,
back and
PM.
forth, and I just go, why can't I feel Ida?
You can feel my annoyed acceptance of this.
Oh, what's your question?
PMing it.
Okay.
Because it might be nothing, but I figured I'd ask.
No.
I was really hopeful this
Okay.
was like the hive mind rings.
No, it
It's
is
similar,
not.
but not quite.
Slight. But as you can
Guys,
all
we
feel
have
each other and
friendship
feel
necklaces.
you feel each other's emotions towards each other. And I can imagine most of you that is irritation coming from
Can't
either.
believe that you're all that disgusted.
Listen, Ned,
Ned.
we didn't even hide it from you, Ned. We told you.
Ned,
We-
I live in the wild. Even animals in the wild go somewhere else to shit than from where they eat and sleep. You have to understand. It is
I've
not
seen plenty of
normal for
dogs
us.
shit on the floor.
And you
I've
know what?
also-
Those are dogs. They are animals that have been tamed and often do not do well when not trained.
Listen, I'm kind of with Ned on that part. Dogs, eating their own shit, and vomit. And those
And then
are
their tongues are
trained
still cleaner than
animals.
ours, so
Do you ever?
obviously
I do not
dogs are
believe
doing
that.
something right.
How many fucking conversations about shit do we need in one day?
Let's go to the, let's go to some.
The disgust from Eider increases immensely.
Dom's so like exasperated. Already he's becoming exasperated.
I will note, as all of you kind of feel a slight irritation with each other, you all take 1 point of non-lethal damage. As
I
the
take an
collars
extra top?
begin to electrocute, and no, you cannot.
Motherfucker.
This
we're gonna kill each
thing
other.
is bound and cursed to you.
I already have the belt.
I know, it makes... Well, this isn't that kind of curse. This is a
This one comes off eventually.
curse of binding, if you
Okay.
will. Not a curse that's like this is a cursed item that's going to change
I've
your
seen
personality.
Minecraft. All we have to do is
It-
die and respawn. And then we just take the item off.
Okay,
Yeah, I
you're
don't know about that
volunteering to
one,
go
Chief.
first.
You
Alright.
all
Yeah,
take 1
someone's
point
get a
damage again.
revive spell ready.
All right, hey guys, let's all get some food and let's head out. I think we should all agree on this.
Yep.
You
I'm
all
very
heal
ready.
1 point of damage.
Is there
Oh.
any safe wilderness I could go spend some time in?
There are things called bathrooms that just like you can do your business.
No,
there.
I don't need the shit. I just want to make sure I have good spells.
Okay, I want to say for the record, there are bathrooms that you can do your business in as well. Just
Maybe
For the
he
next time.
needs to
I
leave.
guess you can ask Zebril if there's like any luminous bio cave nearby. I don't know.
Ned looks around, realizing that the guide was not with them.
Nope, yep.
I guess I should go ask the guy that could tell me.
there's also the springs that should probably like count.
Yeah, maybe. While we're
There's the
going
hot
to get
springs.
rations, Ned, is there anything you want specifically to eat?
There'll be a lot of mushrooms probably.
Nothing that screams. Other
Fair.
than that, I'm not too picky. I mean, I'll eat meat if there's meat. I just don't want to have to watch it be cut up, you know?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Don't worry, we'll get you some tree meat.
Tree meat is always good.
Is that what's made out of dryads?
No,
Ke-
just a youth-
Kez just like thinks back to the random creature he saw in a book, on Monster Book once.
Is tree meat made from dryads?
No, it's
Tree
just
ant
you.
comes
You're
across
getting
you.
normal meat.
As you guys begin to split, Ned beginning to head back towards the inn to ask. Ned, you feel yourself beginning to walk about 10 feet from the party, and as you begin to cut away from them, you can no longer seemingly walk that direction.
Oh, God
oh my
damn
god,
it.
we're distance locked from each other?
That's bad in case we need to split up and do important things. I hope you all realize.
I'm like pushing
understand
against the
that.
force field, trying to drag them.
So how far is he away from us?
Currently 10 feet, though this does not...
10 feet?
Yes, correct. From the closest
Either
number.
can you please explain to Zebril the importance of a party having the ability to have range in battle? Because if we are all within 10 feet at all times, a single spell in a 10-foot cube will kill us all.
Young Domnander, as you all hear in your head, I can hear all of you at all times while you're within my lands, but I do appreciate your concern, and I would hope that you would understand that I have granted you a gift. This will, of course, increase once you leave my town, and there is, by the way, a large forest. You will be exiting out through a mountain cave, and at which point you will see an open forest, which you are welcome to explore and see as you like. But I wish to make clear, you will learn to work together. One of your greatest weaknesses has been when you have set off alone and without each other and managed to get one of you involved in something. I have searched the memories of many adventurers, and many fell to this such a situation with hags and their covens. Keep together, learn to work as one, and then you will be granted the gift of freedom once more. As the voice fades.
The party feels a surge of, like, minor fear, more like startled when Zebril's voice talks, and then calms down. And then Dom, I guess, will ask to the air, since he can just hear. May I ask, Lord Zebril, how far the range increases out of your town?
You will be given as much room as you are needed for.
Noted. Thank you, Lord Zebron. And Dom will just silently and begrudgingly follow Ned to the tavern. He was gonna get rations and multitask, but we're together now, so.
The candy shop is where the rations are, right?
Correct.
Come with me.
So,
Well, since he told me where the wilderness area, I just need to go meditate for an hour,
Well,
so I'll go
yeah,
that
we
direction.
still
we
need to
leave.
get the guide, technically.
Oh,
We
well.
legit
Yeah, like-
can't let you go.
as you start to, you kind of realize, looking for the cave entrance, seeing it, and start trying to walk and run into another invisible wall.
Yeah.
Not even when Dom's with me.
No, it seems that you
We're
all have to
half
be
the
together.
Party, we have a tug of war.
It does seem that as you try to pull away, the whole party has to go together.
Do you mind if we get food? I mean, we can grab the guide and then, because what's the travel time to get to where we need to go?
You're going to the northernmost point of the island. Based on the map you've seen of the world, because I don't know if you guys still have a world map on you. I thought Eider did, but I can't recall.
Oh, we had a news crystal.
You
Oh,
do
no,
have-
yeah, I have a world map.
Yeah, then you would note that basically, based on what you can roughly guesstimate, if the island is correctly designed on the map, it'll probably take you at least 2 to 3 weeks before you'll get to the northernmost point of the island.
Yeah, Ned, you'll have time to get your spell sorted out when we leave.
As Eider kind of pulls out the map and looks over it.
Yeah, so let's make sure we've got rations, because I don't know what we'll be able to hunt while we're out there.
I don't trust much to be edible to us here.
Edible, yes. Probably laden with side effects.
Yes. I consider anything that makes you too ill to not really be edible at that point safely.
Now, you know, if we ever need a little pick-me-up, I've got a bunch of ambrosia jelly beans.
I will say, you say this as Dom and Eider and Ned look over and they see this guy, this Thrycreen, take a big bowl of the ambrosia from one of the fountains, drink it, and their eyes begin to go golden. They fall back on their butt, and they just seem to look like they are completely out of it.
Now,
Oh, I thought you were
granted,
saying-
I'm almost positive it is a incredible drug and should be used in moderation.
You think?
Noted.
Like just gesture to the guy like ambering out.
Listen, I get to taste things again, at least in memory.
Look, I'm not dogging you for it. I'm just saying, yeah, let's not. Very much
Alright.
on board with like let's get an alternative
Ration
food
time.
source. Yeah.
As the four of you begin to turn and head over towards the honored carriage candy, seeing the large sign on the side of the building of a carriage that has the symbol of a candy, like almost a swirling mint as the carriage, its main body. Each of the wheels look to be some sort of strange gumdrop-like material, and then a little sign seems to be hanging onto that says now offering the ton special. As you walk up to this beautiful little candy shop that looks to be glimmering, a big window that looks to have a bunch of jars of different hard candies, another window off to the side that has a bunch of what looks to be donuts and other sweet baked goods. As you open the door, a platinum bell seems to jingle, announcing who you are, as it says, Domnander of the Unfortunate Sons, Eider of the Unfortunate Sons, and so on and so forth, as it continues, as each of you walk through. The large troll behind the counter kind of immediately comes forward. You see the little symbol on his chest that reads Darask in common. And as he smiles, what looks to be a little apron on with some little red stripes. He looks to have a big smile on his face. His white hair kind of combed to the side slickly and with some sort of ice-like gelatin that seems to keep it in place and hard, as well as slightly glimmering. As he smiles at you lot as you walk in and goes, "Oh, the Unfortunate Sons! How can I help you all?" As you see this large troll.
Yes, I believe we were informed about the ton donuts. I think they were.
Yes, they come back with a Zoraton approval. Mr. Tonathy Tumberson himself, he loved these. Some call him Tonathy Tumberton. You know, he has his famous fiery eclairs that he loves. We do offer those on a special. We also have the Ton Challenge, which is a literal ton of donuts created. If you can manage to eat all of them, you win a prize. However, no one has managed except for the giant tortoise himself. Beyond that, we offer 12-pack, 24, as well as 36. Each of these will last you up to a single day. They are calorie dense. We also offer ones that are enchanted with magical abilities, or my favorite, the Wild Berry Special, which in that case you'll be asking for a set of 12 that'll all have random effects, courtesy of our Lord Z himself. That is only for the most brave of adventurers, but the flavors I hear are quite exquisite.
Okay, so each donut is a days of rations.
Correct, good sir. We offer them cream-filled, hardtack. If you like them saltier, sweeter, fishy, chickened, beefed, we've got these things called undercows, and it makes everything saltier, and it even makes the donut tell you how it enjoys being eaten.
Negative on that one.
We also offer normal rations of what we call these are our new special of the local lands. They are what we call preserved. It is a crumble of the material in which you just have to add a hot water, wait a few moments, and boom, as he demonstrates holding out what looks to be this mashed up brown paste-like material, almost like a mix of stuffing and toothpaste. As he pours it into a bowl and then pours some water. Waiting a few moments, you begin to see as it forms into a full chicken with its head still attached. It looks up at you in surprise and with a look of thrill on it, but otherwise looks completely cooked to perfection.
I think I'll just take a 36-pack personally.
The donuts, he looks at you, goes, that'll be 36 silver pieces. As he takes the coin from you and starts preparing in this large box that looks to be a small box of preserving.
How many are we getting?
Wouldn't that only last us for
36 days.
Yeah, and I believe it's 3 weeks to get there.
Correct. If you have no interruptions.
Yeah, I was getting 36 for myself. I figured everyone else would get about that.
Yeah, he's not buying it for all of you.
Well, because that's almost a whole month to get there. So if we each get 36, I feel like we're going to be short, aren't we?
Yeah, you're gonna be short in about 2 weeks.
We have 1,074 silver pieces in the party funds. We can just buy everyone enough from party funds.
Yeah, I mean, I think rations is a fair thing for party funds. Party funds.
Party funds.
He does.
Party puns.
Duras does look at you, Eider, as he begins to put some of the donuts in and goes, I should mention as well, as a note, once the last donut is taken out from this box will burn itself. It will not harm you in any way, but if you leave it in, say, your backpack, for example, you will open it and find nothing but a little bit of ash left behind in your bag. So do keep in mind when you have your last one, just feel free to deposit the box by tossing it to the side.
Be used as a fire starter in case of an emergency.
In fact, actually, yes, that is one of the requests by Tonathy Tumberton himself.
Design.
He had requested it to be a spicier box so he could use it to burn his enemies' villages as they are surprised thinking they got a last box with a single donut. Truly a terrifying individual.
How much for his fire eclairs? Those sound interesting.
Those are a gold piece apiece. However, and they offer the spell Fire Sphere when you eat them. However, I will keep in mind these are a one-time thing, and we can only make about 5 of them at a time.
I'll take 5 of them, and I put 5 gold down.
He takes the 5 gold happily and starts pulling out, and they are all shaped like Tuntun with little cream balls that have cinnamon to look like fireballs shooting out of his mouth. As he sets them in there. They're solid, though, as he puts them away, handing you the box. And then looks to...
Since I bought all of them, do any of you want one?
Don't eat them in the shop, please. I do only eat them when you are preparing to kill people.
Or when they need it.
How many did you buy?
5.
That was what they said they could make in a day.
Oh. Is the fire sphere... I'm not a big spell person. Is that centered on ourselves when we eat it?
The fire sphere, as he looks at you and goes, "Oh no, the effect." As he takes a bite of one and like immediately opens his mouth and a little fire sphere pops out, and he points it towards a candle, and it floats over to it and lights it. And he goes, "It appears in front of you. It comes out of your mouth and then immediately goes where you ask it to be." And it's count. So, for your own note for out of game and for game perspective, it's an immediate effect. So basically, upon eating it, you just decide where it's going.
I will pass for now, but if you have a spare, I might take you up on it, Ned.
Well, I don't assume I'll be eating all of them anytime soon.
Okay. Then there was the wild berry flavors. What were the other flavors? Just like plain? Like, as in non-magical
Yes, correct. The ones that, the 72 that Eider just bought, as you see him, like, suddenly kind of set down more silver as Drax kind of smiles and pulls 2 more boxes out and starts working away.
Yeah, it was...
Yes, they are...
silver?
They are a silver piece, basically, a donut.
Oh, okay.
They're just,
Should we just,
for the calorie-dense ones, for the non-magical.
with the party funds, just do 72 for each of us? Do we think?
7.2 gold.
Hang on, there's 1,000 silver pieces in the party fund.
So that'd be 100 gold pieces. Because everything's a denomination of 10. D&D was really nice about that.
I believe it only changes when you get to like Electrum, but who uses that?
No, well, Electrum has the same conversion, I believe, as either silver or gold. I cannot recall at the top
Well,
of my
because
head.
I think it's like 5 silver per Electrum.
Yes, that's it, because it's a half piece.
Yeah.
But Electrum's also a specific metal mixture that you have to be able to find, which currently in the world, with it being focused on gemstones, is not available.
Oh yeah.
So, the only reason I use the silver piece is because it's easier for D&D calculations.
Yeah, I don't think I've actually ever seen anybody use Electrum before.
I have.
No one likes it.
Not as a DM, but as a player. My first Amno used to prefer it, but yeah. Dom, as you look at, are you gonna do 72 rations for everyone? So that'll be.
Yeah, Dom literally pulls out a pouch from a bag of holding that's for the party funds. That's just silver pieces and tallies it out. I think for 4 people that should be.
Well, 3 because
200.
Eider paid for his own.
Wait, oh, then even less. Hang on. So. So 216 silver pieces.
Yeah. As he starts kind of putting the boxes together, going through and kind of grabbing the fruity or the normal chocolate and vanilla and cinnamon looking colorations to them. They're simpler in their designs as well as their flavor profiles, though he does try to get you a mixture of a couple of different flavors as he kind of puts the box together and hands them over to you and goes, tell me how they taste in the field. We always love our reviews from our customers, and if you have any new flavors that you discover out in the wilds, feel free to bring back some plants. I'm always looking for something new to try.
I will keep that in mind.
We also have candy if you're interested, though most of them have very unique effects. A recommendation from a customer we have now, the Wild Magic Candy. It's caused some very interesting, unique situations amongst the merchants that come through, but we have now a warning sign for it that says you can't eat them while in town.
Smart.
I don't think anything that leaves anything up to chance is a good idea for us.
He looks at you and nods and goes, I did hear that you did not buy Chokchok's lucky enchantments.
We simply did not have the time.
He understands. I understand as well. As Dras nods and goes, will there be anything else I can offer? Custom orders for food, but if you're looking for a more personal touch of home, I recommend the House of Psionic Pleasures run by 6.
Nope, I think we're about to head out.
He nods and goes, enjoy your colors.
We're not the first ones that got these things on, are we?
He just smiles and waves to you as the door opens.
Smiling wave, boys. Smiling wave.
Kaz thinking about a group of performers back home that were into a live stage and drama, dressing up as these weird black and white birds of foreign lands.
They're Iceland rocks. We have them all the time in the Frost Giant land.
Yes.
Oh,
Flightless, surprisingly.
Man.
For the sea.
Man, they can fight, I'll tell you what.
They have a habit to dance sometimes.
as you look. As you lot walk out into the main street, you see as you kind of come out as Skartsmunder is kind of standing there, looking at, kind of waiting as he has a full pack on his back. His leather's kind of cleaned up, a couple of what looks to be bottles of booze on his hip, and what looks to be now alongside his daggers a very bright platinum small little hand axe that he is keeping on his belt. That seems to be engraved with runes that seem, as you kind of take a moment to read in Infernal, the Fiery Dandy.
Oh, look at that.
But as he kind of sees you coming out, he smiles, a very wide smile as he takes a sip of a bottle from his hip that he uncorks and looks at you lot. So he kind of finishes gulping it down. He goes, "All right, who's ready to fight some creatures?"
Tyler just like raises his hands. I'm rather irritated. Let's go kill something.
You feel religious zealotism coming from
Ider's annoyance just intensifies.
I see you got your lace. I don't imagine I have to explain the situation too much. Don't worry, I have found our first interest. But let's get a move on. We'll be heading out on the road for a few days, probably a few weeks. As he begins to lead you lot outside of the town. As he does, and as you enter into the wide open and beautiful forest, seeing these many coconut trees kind of populating the entrance to the cave. What looks to be, as you kind of look back, just a simple cave entrance into a mountain is a kind of concern or slight realization of how easy some poor unfortunate adventurer or sailor could get stuck on this island and walk their way into this place. As you look on, seeing how casually unguarded the open entrance seems to be. Though looking back further into the cave entrance, the large platinum solid doors and the multiple illithids standing up front in full plate, seemingly a bit more threatening. But as you head into the wild following the guide, Skartsmender kind of begins to point out a few plants and animals as you pass by. Many creatures that seem to be insects that are carnivorous, some that seem to pick up small frogs that have little brains sticking out of them and begin to either drink their brain out of their head as they fly away or seem to just devour the frog whole as its body begins to appear in their back and a clear thorax and slowly digests as the creature horrifically spins in the juices, looking on as if it's still alive. And variations of similar creatures kind of seem to pop up. Monkeys that seem to have strange, long fangs, massive skulls, and thick hides that seem to be mostly around their necks and the back of their heads, as if these creatures have evolved to be attacked by something that only goes after its brain. Bats and other such things that seem to flutter overhead, that seem to be the size of giants, that seem to completely ignore you, grabbing one of these apes and flying off with it as it seems to tear into it in the sky. As you lot follow, Skartsmander kind of continues to point out these little small notices, and as he does, the first day seems to go by quite surprisingly calm. Nothing seemingly happening as you lot make camp. The forest kind of quiet, the sounds of a hooting owl of some sort in the distance, the occasional cries of some strange frog-like creature that seems to gurgle its words in the distance can be heard as a strange chant in this language can also be caught. Sirens of some foreign instrument seem to kind of go on in the background.
They're the best coyotes.
And then with a great silence.
And then almost immediately as you all look around, it goes silent, which is more eerie than anything as you watch. As Scartsmender kind of starts a fire with a couple of plants that seem to scream as they're lit ablaze, digging a hole into the ground and lighting them. He looks at you lot as he smiles, setting a couple stumps down and some rocks and kind of setting up his tent to the side. He looks at you as he puts down a pot down and onto the fire and seems to begin to fill it with something. Some strange brown powder and begins to fill it with water as he smiles and goes, "Alright, rules of the camp. You go out at night to take a piss, you're dead. You go out of my sight, you're probably dead. You walk out into the silence during the day, you're going to die. Oh, and if you start tripping balls and seeing something, we're all dead." Any questions?
Is there anything that might happen that doesn't mean absolute death?
You're a funny one. Let me explain something to you, young man. We're on an island where creatures that would be considered able to wipe out nations almost by themselves cower in a hole. Think about that.
Good God, it feels like we're on the Dark Continent.
Looks at you and smiles and goes, No, but there are some similar species to the creatures there. I'd call these more of a lesser version. Many of these adapted a different direction. Problem is, a lot of these creatures, and as he kind of points up to one, as you see a bird with bright white feathers kind of flying through the sky, a long golden beak that glimmers as it begins to open its mouth, and you hear the most soothing song. All of you give me a will save.
Glad I got that
Is this
now.
a giant fucking seagull?
This is the equivalent of what would be a seagull on this island, yes.
Yeah, that's right. I remember talking.
I don't know if this comes up, but I'm immune to charm and compulsion effects.
Hey, that's good news!
Yes,
This is a sleep effect. I don't think sleep is compulsion.
Is this from the School of Enchantment?
No, this is not.
Whatever the
love
fuck it is. I have a monk thing, hey, and I'm double
The
checking.
rock, the seagull rock.
Oh.
Yeah. I remember talking about these bad boys.
Let me double
15 for Ned.
You said will save?
Oh, it is enchantment actually, and it is compulsion.
Ah, I get
Oh.
a bonus.
I'm immune.
Cool, you're immune. Alright, yes, I did say will save.
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20, you fail,
24.
and you are immediately put to sleep. Dom, you barely succeed by 1, managing to keep consciousness, and Ned is out cold before any of you realize something happened.
Part of me is so tempted to try to shoot the bird with my sling.
And
I'm gonna refrain.
Don't you fucking.
Scartsmander just looks over at Ida and looks at Dom as he sees Kaz and Ned fall asleep and goes, "See, now that's the weakest creatures we're going to run into, and those things just fly around doing that all night."
Do they taste good?
No.
Dom slowly reaches for his sling.
I tried one and they're like you call them turkeys, I believe. They put you to sleep after eating it. It's a strange effect. But during the day they're quite active, and I don't want to have a lot of these creatures swarming us. That's why we sleep during the day and stay up at night walking. It's also why we're making camp now, as the sun will break within an hour.
Also, I imagine the sun is kind of harsh on your eyes.
Slightly, but it's more of the warbats I'm fearful for, because they get very panicky, and they usually feast on giants.
Just turn, look at my companion, kind of nod. Oh, upside is that those two got a head start on the scene.
He nods and goes, "Yes, why don't you drag them into my tent for the night? Once you get them close, they'll shrink down to the size, and they should be able to fit in. It fits 24.
Just kind of nod and say, "Dibs on not Ned."
He looks over at you both and goes, "Oh, God, no. Neither of you can lift a giant's weight, can you?"
No.
How do you say not Ned? Like I'm also not a very heavy.
I was gonna say Kez, who's in full plate. Yeah, he looks over.
I could probably drag Kez, probably.
Scartsmender looks
drag?
over at. Yeah, that's a good question. Scartsmender looks over at Dom for a moment and goes, "I assume you don't have the ability to lift either of these either."
Without any of my equipment, I'm 977 pounds.
Yeah, I can drag you.
He's probably like 1,200.
I don't know.
His pants are
That's
clean.
not
That is the
enough.
good news. As he kind of looks over and goes, "All right, I'll do it." As he takes out his gauntlets from his bag and puts on these glowing golden and bronze gauntlets that seem to have giant runes on them, and kind of walks over. As they begin to glow, he picks up Kez, cradles him, and walks him over and sets him down in the tent, and walks again over to Ned and picks him up and cradles him and walks over and sets him in. Walks back over to the tent, or back over to the fire as he looks at both of you. I assume with surprise as he kind of takes off the gloves and goes, "And good news, it looks like your lays are no longer restrictive."
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I've been like inspecting his damn gauntlets the entire time.
Give me an appraise or craft armorsmith.
Gauntlets of fire giant strength. As opposed to a belt.
Well, 100% do armorsmith because that's a much higher result.
Oh no.
That is a 33.
These are gauntlets of ogre power, from what you can tell.
Yeah, makes sense.
Which means that also that only gave him a +2 to his strength. So I want you to know that you just saw this man walk up, and his muscles are hidden under the leather tunic he's wearing, so you can't really get a good look at his build. He looks not big, but he looks like normal muscled for a soldier, as he seems to do this, and he doesn't seem to get bigger. So, but as you watch on, the only thing I will say is you do notice as he walks, he is slipping into the ground about a good 6 inches with every step. You'd probably guesstimate this guy probably weighs, with that, probably a little north of 1,000, 2,000, probably more near 2,000 pounds. This is not a thin or light dwarf.
Very, very dense.
Mm-hmm. But yes, you would recognize these as, and it looks like these gauntlets are specifically made from a mix of a enchanted bronze that seems to be bathed, from what you can tell, in death ore, the blue version, and the bits of platinum on it look to be specifically designed and recognizing it from the Eldritch forge.
Gotcha. Just got like an appreciative glance over and say, "You do much enchanting with death ore?"
He looks at you and goes, "No, actually, these were given to me. Our smiths down below are the ones who do all the work. I'm just a fighter and a scout. Probably one of the lower ranking ones, but too, from what I've been able to gather. But all of our items are dipped in the stuff down there. Why?"
Up here, it's well, I tried using it once to figure out if I could. It didn't go well.
Of course, the magic is too dense up here. Think about it for a second, right? You've got a hot flame. Let's say the flame is turned to the point of blue. It's so hot. And you try to put a stick with a red flame on it. What's going to happen to that red flame?
Gonna burn it out.
Well, no, it's going to suddenly turn blue, and, well, in theory, instead, now we just add a little bit of something that explodes, and then boom, you've got the same effect. Kind of the same perspective. You need a smaller flame, or a weaker flame in this case, or less magic in the air to be able to use the stuff. That's about all I've been able to gather, because I got pools of the stuff to quench weapons in and such.
Occupational hazard. Don't let me anywhere near death ore.
Now I know you're a spellfighter, I can see it. You've been sucking my magic off pretty much all day.
I don't like it being phrased like that, but
Well, I don't like losing half my spells.
oh, you've been using it on me? I haven't noticed.
I know. I will also note you finally notice your spellfire's full.
Well, upside is I'm ready to take on just about anything that comes our way.
He looks at you and goes, "Yes, but it's also a problem because while we're up here, it means that if I have to escape, it's going to be a little bit more of an annoyance."
Just kind of like shrug and like show off like the sanctuary effect and says, "You can at least help with that a little bit."
Need help.
Not foolproof, but
He just kind of looks at you with a little bit of disdain in his eyes and goes, "So," as he turns back over towards the fire and heads to play with a stick and looks about and goes, "Why are you lot stupid enough to take on a quest for the Lord of the Hive Mind?"
Holy One accidentally managed to get him summoned, and I owed him.
And he looks over at Dom Nender and goes, "And you? Or are you in the same mindset as him?"
Well, yes, we owe him a favor. He seems to be on good terms with Aiter. I don't want to anger one who is allied with both Aiter and Utham. And, well, the lands we wish to go to, that I at least wish to go to, currently have a bounty on Aiter's head that is astronomical, so we need time to figure out the plan. I figured this was one of the better options of places to go. If that tells you how little choices we have of places to go. And Tom kind of like thinks onto like, you know, all of the shit going on back in the Frost Giant lands and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Kind of looks at you and goes, "Good to know, good to know. Well, get some sleep. As soon as you set foot inside the tent, you'll be basically knocked out. Also, I hope you don't mind, but I'll be keeping watch out here during the day."
Do you want help splitting the shift? I'm quite used to keeping watch as well.
You literally couldn't manage to kill a single creature during the daytime. You'd die before you got to warn me that we were being attacked. No, I'd rather not die. Sleep well, enjoy yourself, and I'll join you once I'm able to seal the camp.
Well, if you need help or change your mind, you'll know where to find us. I think Levidos, or not Levidos, Aiter being one of the only ones, Levidos, you're here now. Being one of the only ones, like, conscious would feel during this that Dom has a strong sense of, like, suspicion, like on his surface emotions, there's, like, suspicion and distrust just on instinct, but then, like, a begrudging acceptance that, like, what the man says is correct. And I guess I'll look at Aiter to see if Aiter goes into the tent as well.
Yeah, you just like see Eider like turn quarter about, like kind of like just like shrug, like what the like yeah, what can you do gesture.
Yep. And I guess we'll go in.
As you head into the tent, the night.
If I fit.
Yeah, no, immediately you shrink down. As you step
Damn.
or kind of like kind of lean in, you shrink down to medium size, along with Ned and Kez, who look to be very cozy, wrapped up, and completely out cold as they seem to be murmuring in their sleep. I will also note, as you look over, both of you can see their dreams currently, as Ned seems to be joyously walking, bouncing through a field of flowers and a group of people around him that seem to be shadowy figures that he doesn't seem to know anything about, as they seem to all kind of happily go through the field. Kez seems to be dreaming about standing tall, Ella Ugbo's armor upon him, hammer in hand, a horde of creatures coming at him as he stands alone, holding back this horde. As you kind of crawl in.
You know, I was expecting something a little bit more fun and surprising, but these are about what I would have expected.
Put it all on Black 17.
Suddenly, Kez switches over to, as you all realize, his terrible gambling habit that he's been hiding away, as you find out the reason he became a man of the cloth wasn't because he wanted to, but he had lost a bet and got forced into the position, as he suddenly shows his sadness as he keeps losing, keeps betting more, steals people's money, and starts betting. That's why you realize he keeps losing to Ned at card games.
Oh, Lord.
He keeps changing the rules. It's fucked up.
But immediately as both of you crawl in seeing this, you begin to feel your eyes growing heavy and your body growing weaker. As you kind of begin to fall asleep, you immediately regain all health points. And while you are asleep inside this tent, are allowed to change whatever spells you'd like.
Oh yes, I must change my spells right away.
Well, listen, this is important for your two casters. As far as it goes, because Eider is not a caster, no matter how much people keep thinking that. Because I've been asked that a couple times.
I think we should get the wish spell. What do you think?
You know what? If I could, I would. However, no.
Does that work for like all preparation things? Because
Yes.
can I change out my soul meld?
Yes, that would. For Soul Meld, yes. Because I think Soul Meld is treated similar to a caster's ability.
Yeah, you like wake up and prepare them.
Yep. So yes, while
I
you
have
are
some
asleep.
stuff that might actually work with this.
As the night goes on, though, as Scotsmander kind of continues watching, keeping up the vigil and continuing his watch. A few hours go by, and he is supposedly seeing and looking off into the distance, looking at the sunset and dealing with the creatures. And as you guys sleep, unknowingly and continuously and open to attack, the day goes on until night comes. As you all find yourselves kind of awakening, you hear a whisper coming from Scartsmander in the darkness go, "Well, good news. There's another adventuring party we found." And that's where we'll end session today. We thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed, and we will see you on the next one.